All right, everyone, we are set up. It's a Luigi time. It's time for some Super Mario Galaxy with Platicorn. I will pass it over to her. Please take it away.
Cool, we good? I'm good to start. Hello. Cool, I think we are good. Let's make it 100% sure. Hello everybody! My name is Platicorn. Today I will be running Super Mario Galaxy Luigi any percent for you guys. That's super fun, which by the way, this marathon has been crazy. Thank you all so much for the support so far. That's been super neat. Today I am joined with two of my very lovely commentators, if you would like to introduce yourselves. Battle for who goes first.
I got it. I'm hexspeedruns.
Hi, I'm Thorn_97.
Very excited.
Alright. Very excited. Just wanted to show all my Yoshis for a second. I feel like it's very important. Just make sure you spin your Yoshis before you start a run, chat. Very important part. Alright. With that being said, are we all ready to go? Everything good? Thumbs up? I think so. Alright, I will count down if you guys... Well, I was gonna say you guys should join me, but the delay would be really bad, so maybe not. I'll just do it. I'll just do the countdown. But yeah, we are going to start in 3, 2, 1, go. Yay!
Let's go! Galaxy!
So now, Galaxy is a super fun game. I love showing this game off. I think that this game is very underrated when it comes to speedrunning, and I'm glad that the community's been growing a lot for sure recently. But yeah, that being said, I am actually in the minority of how people play this game. So if our lovely commentator hexspeedruns would like to tell you the differences between 1P and 2P, go away. Go for it.
Sure.
Go away. Go ahead.
Go away.
Go away.
Sure. So, over the last 1 or 2 years, the game's definitely been seeing a change in meta. A lot of runners will play in 2P mode, or commonly known as co-star mode. Basically, what that means is people will add on another remote, and it allows them to have a bunch of, advantages and allows for a lot more optimizations. Basically, they can collect star bits, do special jumps, freeze enemies, and do some other miscellaneous stuff. And it definitely has changed how the game is ran, because gone is the kind of the old meta where everyone was like, Galaxy is just long jumps. Even 1P's changed, where it's a lot more exciting and it's going to be cool to show it off.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, also, real quick, while we're having these cutscenes and stuff, you may be noticing, hey, my stream says that this is Super Mario Galaxy. Why is there Luigi? That doesn't make any sense. So, we'll also tell you about that. I don't feel like talking. You take it away. Again.
Thorn, you want to take this one, or do you want me to do it?
I think I have that.
Let's
Oh,
go.
let's go.
So basically, I think you're allowed to collect, is it 242 stars in total in this game? Or is it
Yes,
still-
that is
it's
technically
240?
100%.
So technically 100% you could get 242 stars, but basically anything after 120 stars is just a repeat of the first 120 stars, but you just go ahead and do it with Luigi second time through. So for the leaderboards, there's a Mario category and a Luigi category, 120. And basically the difference is you either play as Mario or Luigi, but but you're good. But with Luigi, people tend to play as Luigi more because you get to skip a huge cutscene in the front, so that's a big plus.
It's
And
like 5
also,
minutes.
yeah, and also Luigi's movement is a lot faster than Mario's in most aspects of the game.
Yeah, especially 1P, there are a decent chunk of Luigi-only skips that you're going to see. So it's just genuinely been the preferred way of playing the game.
Yeah, Luigi just got them hops. He's just better.
True.
He's built different. Now, the only bad side about Luigi, yeah, his movement is just better. He's faster, he jumps farther and longer, higher as well. But the only bad part about Luigi, which doesn't really come into effect that much, is he got butter shoes on. Luigi solely uses butter shoes, so he kind of slips around a lot, but Other than that, Luigi's just the optimal.
I think Boo Luigi is slower than Boo Mario.
Yes, also that, but it doesn't really make a difference in the run.
Yeah.
I don't use Boo too much.
Yeah.
I think, you know, the advantages for Luigi definitely outweigh the disadvantages. So it's kind of clear why he's the choice.
Yeah. Okay, so let me do a weird little backflip there. That's actually to skip a 15-second cutscene. I missed this one, but it's okay. That Luma just talks for a little bit. But the other Luma, he waffles. He waffles a lot.
He does waffle. And in this game, we follow one principle. Do not waffle.
True, yeah. Minimal waffling is the best.
So that was actually, while we were explaining, we missed, but that was a pretty good gateway. The bunnies and the gateway can be one of the big reset points of the speedrun, but, Platicorn did it very well. Minimal mistakes, if anything. So definitely off to a very good start.
Not too bad at all. So, yeah, speaking of which, there's a lot of Grand Star cutscenes in this game, which are perfect for donations. So how do we get, like, 1 or 2 here while Rosalina and others yap for a bit?
So I'm actually, instead of reading a donation, I am going to shout out an incentive that we currently have open, because some people were talking about incentives in chat. We're currently trying to reach $4,000 by the end of tonight and by the end of the marathon. And if we do that, we will unlock an additional crafts room run by Gabby herself, who we are doing this entire marathon to support. So I really wanted to pitch that because we have just $675 remaining until we get to $4,000. So any donations that come in, regardless of incentive that they go towards, that's going to go towards that total incentive that we are trying to hit by the end of the night. So wanted to pitch that now because that's, I think, the most important thing, trying to get that extra run in at the very end. I'll have more stuff to pitch later, but thanks everyone so much.
Sweet.
Yeah, cool.
To get those donations in.
Mm-hmm. This is basically part of the game where Rosalina is like, hey, you're here now. I'll explain it a little bit. And she just shoos us off to get more stars, which is fair, It's kind of our thing, saving the world and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the language that you're running in?
Oh, yes! So that is a very speedrunning thing as well. So in a lot of speedruns, you'll notice that they do not use English as their primary language because English is just a very slow language. There's a lot of characters. I think even the text just scrolls slower in general. So we run this game in Korean if you're on 3D All-Stars, which I am on that version. And it saves about it saves over 2 minutes, for sure. It depends on each category as well, but there's just a lot of time saved with keeping it in a different language other than English. On the Wii U version of this game, Wii U version of this game, most people run on Japanese because if you want to play a Korean disc, you actually need a Korean Wii, and of course not a lot of people want to buy a whole Wii for just one speedrun. So on the Wii U version, you'll see people running it in Japanese, which hexspeedruns does, still.
I do. Whoa! What's with the shade?
It's the unoptimal version. The loads are faster in 3D All-Stars, the text is faster in 3D All-Stars. However, if you would like to explain a little bit about the 2P remote setup and as to why a lot of people are still on the Wii U version, feel free.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Wii U, for the longest time, was the meta. It's actually starting to change now, which is good to see. People are starting to really adapt and welcome the Switch version with open arms just because of the time save. But the Wii U version, the setup that's used is actually, runners will either tape or Velcro 2 Wii remotes together. And if you've ever played on a Wii, if you've ever gotten hit in the head with the Wii remote, which I am sure that's an integral part of many people's childhoods, those Wii remotes are not the lightest thing in the world. Now, thankfully, a lot of people are using 2P on Joy-Cons, which are a lot lighter, but those come with their own kind of downsides. No notches, and spins are a lot more sensitive, which sounds like it could be a positive, and sometimes it is, but, depending on the player, it could be a positive or a negative. So Wii U is more so just like 2P setup's a lot easier and more standard, but, people are starting to take risks. Got to get that time save, so they're moving over to Switch.
Yeah, I've messed around with the 2P setup for Switch, and it's super weird. So on Switch, you kind of need you need to put the Joy-Cons back to back, and preferably, if you would like them to not wiggle around so much, a lot of people put like either like a little piece of like cardboard in between them, so that way they're even with each other, because the Z and R buttons, or ZR and ZL buttons on the back kind of make it a little bit hard. A little bit hard to keep it straight, so they have like not only like cardboard pieces in between these two remotes between these two remotes like this, but they also have rubber bands on it to make sure it stays in place. And then you have gyro, which also you have to reset your gyro every once in a while just because gyro drift is inevitable.
That is something I forgot to say. I completely forgot about that. So another difference between Wii U and Switch is no longer do Switch players have to use the worst piece of technology in the world, aka the sensor bar. Switch is completely gyro, and honestly, it's a lot better just because anyone who's used a sensor bar know how jank they can be, and especially if you're using 2 cursors instead of 1, it can definitely be a struggle.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's why I switched over to the 3D All-Stars version at first. When I started running the 3D All-Stars version of this game, the meta was definitely Wii U Virtual Console. But I switched over because I could not handle my sensor bar. My sensor bar was so bad, it was so, like, it just wouldn't work. I'd have to be in such a weird position to make it work. So gyro was just better. So I was just ahead of the train. I just knew.
Yeah. The trendsetter herself.
Also, real quick, while we're in the beginning parts of this run, as you can already tell, Mr. Hexspeedruns is quite the thesaurus of knowledge. About this game, you know some knowledge in this game. However, you may be like, Thorn! I want to know a little bit more about Thorn, which, oh, how could I even blame you? Thorn's the goat. So anyway, Thorn, would you like to explain what your role is here?
My role is, first of all, I'm an aspiring multi-Mario runner, so which means I haven't done most of the games yet. So I know very little about this particular game, so I will be playing the role as the viewer that is wondering what's going on in
the wandering viewer, yes.
Yeah.
And you know, I think that's a good role because oftentimes when you run a game for so long, you can forget the little things that you take for granted. And I think Thorn is going to do a great job of allowing us to explain that for the people watching.
Yeah, for sure. So, this little section we're trying to get star bits for the Hungry Luma. You did see me do a little bit of a trick there where I bounced off of a Luma to get into the Sling Star, which I always love those strats. They're very little throughout the game, using momentum boosts off of little Lumas, but I love every time we use it. It's one of my favorite tricks in the game, just using the NPCs.
Yeah,
he was waffling for a little bit. I accidentally talked to him, but it's okay. We can say hi to the Lumas.
A little bit later.
A counter of how many Lumas I've accidentally talked to. It's already 2.
Yeah, a little bit later we might see a double Luma bounce, so that would be pretty cool.
Definitely gonna try and get that. It literally saves a second, and if you have to set it up, it's not even worth going for, but I still go for it anyway. I love it.
Listen, it looks cool. That's all that matters.
Right? Especially in this game, the swag strats, they just, they're so good.
Also, silly. Go ahead, Thorn.
Oh, do you have to worry about collecting star bits like between levels in any percent? Like to
no, not in between levels, because
or not in between levels. Like for the Hungry Lumas in between levels.
Yes. So, we collect only a certain amount of star bits in this game because every time you get a star bit or a coin, there's a 1-second text box that appears that's like, hey, you got a star bit or you got a coin, and obviously that's slow throughout the course of the run. So we collect only a certain amount of levels per certain stages that have been routed out by people who are very smart and I'm sure have PhDs or something like that. They have to. But yeah, no, we only collect star bits for 2 Hungry Lumas throughout the run, at least in this route. I do pushback route, as it's called, which is a little bit easier on star bits, which is very nice for 1P. There's another route called Going Commando, which is a lot easier to achieve in 2P, because 2P you can stun and interact with kind of like enemies and other interactable things, you know, so it makes collecting star bits a lot easier by either stunning the boulders so they run into each other, or hitting the little green things to whack into bushes to get you star bits. But I do this version which only has 2 Hungry Lumas, so we only need 400 star bits for the first one, and I believe 600 for the last one, so 1,000 star bits throughout the run.
Yeah, and starbits are relatively lenient on this route, so
Mm-hmm.
probably it's not gonna be a worry.
Very, very lenient.
Also, the cursor on All Stars collects starbits a lot easier than the cursor on Wii. They made it bigger for some reason, but definitely a positive change. I think I'm gonna, Thorn, if you don't mind, I might explain Honey Hive 1 skip real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
So what Platy's doing here is she's going up to the tree, and she's actually going to use this tree to skip to the end of the level. So what you're intended to do is take an alternate route, and you're going to visit the Queen Bee. The Queen Bee has star chip pieces on her that she needs taken off, but we're speedrunners. We don't have time for that. So Platy over here is going to do what we call Honey Hive 1 tree skip, and her goal is going to be to slide to the other tree, which actually has the toad you talked to at the end of the level.
Ooh,
Let's
nice!
go!
Yay!
Let's go. Yeah, that
This
trick.
trick has been giving me a lot of difficulty recently, so glad to get it first try.
Yeah, that trick's a lot harder than it looks. So getting that first try is very, very impressive. Well done.
Let's go.
So yeah, that level skip stays about 40 seconds, and this platform is meant to be the last we visit after a series of other planets. But as you saw, skipped it all.
Hope we take
Very
that.
good.
I actually just got a PB recently, so I've been practicing for this event, which, by the way, this was such a blessing in disguise. Well, it was just a blessing anyway, because I was like, oh, super cool, I get to show off a run for people and also help people, that's cool. But also just because I've had a goal to get sub 230 in this game for so long, and my schedule's just been all over the place, so finding the time to sit down and practice this game consistently has been a struggle. But this marathon definitely gave me the motivation to actually sit down and practice it every day, and because of that, I actually got a PB. Finally, I got the sub 230, but what's funny about that is that I actually missed that tree skip in my PB. I had to go back and get it second try, so this is technically probably PB pace just off of that alone.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Get in, pace pals. I had a joke because I kept choking some of my PB paces this week. I was like, oh, I'm just saving it for the run.
Saving it for the marathon.
Yep.
So what is your PB?
So my PB is a 2:29:22.
Nice.
Finally. I was just praying for a sub 240 this week. I just wanted to be underestimate, so I'm feeling pretty okay. Even if we have some issues, which is of course bound to happen. It's a Galaxy Marathon run. It's got to be at least one.
There always is one. Although this run is definitely pretty good so far, and Lindsay's going for the second tree skip. Very, very common trend we're seeing. But this one saves a lot less time. It only saves around 10 seconds. But the movement looks really cool. This is probably the hardest level in early game. And Platy's doing very well.
The movement's kind of weird here, because that windmill absolutely loves to knock you off. This bug also absolutely loves to mess you up, but it's okay. I mean, rightfully so. I kind of feel bad for attacking it. It was kind of just vibing, but it's got a star. We gotta take it. Ah, very nice. What you're supposed to do there is you're supposed to go, like, up this tree, go through the level, go to the windmill button, activate the windmill, wait for the windmill to go all the way up to the top, but we don't really need to do that. So...
Ain't nobody got time for that. Yeah. Third level on Honey Hive 3. This is the second boss of the run. And the strats for beating this boss are actually really cool, as Platy's going to show it off. So what you're intended to do is use these dandelions and ground pound on the back of the bug. And we will ground pound on the back.
With the bee as well.
With the bee, true. But Platy's gonna find a faster way to beat the boss, because that other method takes a lot more time. It also looks a lot cooler.
When I learned it, I felt so cool. I was like, oh my gosh. I finally found the Queen Bee. She's not too mad that we didn't go visit her. She's like, whatever. I'll still help you out. And that's the only Queen Bee appearance in this run. Hope you enjoyed it.
Now, you have to use the bee mushroom here. There actually is a way to skip it, but it's 2p only, so Platy's going to take the bee suit here. No harm, no foul.
Yep. All good. Not too much slower.
Yep.
Yeah, so this first phase is actually going to be using the bee, just because that's just the fastest way if you already have it. But next, we're going to do a triple jump, and I'm going to start it actually as soon as I lose my bee. Because otherwise I'd just start flying, and I would not get this movement. Yeah, we're gonna get just a little bit of star bits here. Only 32. Even though you can get a lot in this level. That's kind of... I want to talk to the people who route this game. Because some levels I don't understand why you get star bits. Some I definitely do. Some... It just don't make sense to me at all.
I think...
I gotta have some discussions.
I think it's just due to the levels that have the most. Like, I know other runners have just told me they only get star bits in, like, 5 levels. I'm not too
That's
sure
absurd.
either. Yeah.
You just listen to the people that know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Yep.
When it comes to this game, routing this game is very annoying. Which we can explain actually during this level, but beforehand, there's a quick guessing game that we always love to do. So if you don't know, this is Loop-de-Loop, which is a race. You try to race on a manta, you beat the time, whatever. Well, we don't care about that time. What we care about is guessing the specific time that you get. I don't know, I guess... it's a fun little guessing game. So you cannot enter guess in a 2, 4, 7, or 9 because of the way frame interpolation works in this game. Those numbers just do not appear in the last second digit. So, with that being said, good time to guess is anywhere from a mid-57 to a mid-58. If you guess it exactly right, I don't know, what should we do?
I'll gift a sub. I'll give 3 subs if someone gets it.
Ooh!
Or do we donate?
I'll
We donate.
I'll donate $20 if someone gets it.
Let's go. We'll donate actually the amount that you put in as your guess.
Oh my god.
Also, if anyone else in chat wants to match those donations, or just do a quick, $5 donation if someone can get it.
I'll match the $20.
Let's go, Thorn. That's why Thorn's the GOAT.
We've got a ton of guesses in chat, too.
Let's go.
Let's go keep them coming.
You lose nothing by guessing, so get those
True,
guesses
true.
in.
Maybe I'll spoil it. Recently I've been getting literally only 5778s and 5788s, so if you want a good shot, guess those.
I'm gonna go
It's very
57-51.
Okay. What about you, Thorn?
57.95.
Okay.
I put in a 5791.
Oh,
Ooh.
someone had Ornate Rope already had 57.95. 57.96.
There we
Is
go.
that
You're
good?
good. You're good.
It's very funny. Just like doing this level over and over again, you notice that you get certain times more than others.
Mhm.
It's kind of strange. I've had like streams before where I've gotten the same time 3 runs in a row. It's like, why?
That's
I'm
called
just consistent.
consistency.
Yeah! Alright, Annie. Ooh, 5746.
46.
I scammed you, actually. I'm so sorry. I had to show off for the camera, you know what? I'll donate for that anyway. I was gonna donate at the end of it, but it's okay, we have one more guessing game left. So don't you worry, chat. Don't worry, I got that started.
We had a real close one in chat with a 5756.
Oh no!
no.
Point one off! Oh, it's always heartbreaking. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
you were too fast.
yeah, sorry.
How dare you go too fast in a speedrun?
I always feel so bad when I do that, but it's so funny. It's definitely better than giving a time rage and then going over it. That's the worst. At least when I'm under it. It's a little more swag. Yeah, next we're going on to Flip Switch, which is pretty self-explanatory. There's a normal route. It's pretty easy to follow. There's some certain timings with jumps. Usually we try to get a triple jump at the end to just go right into the star as soon as we can. There's a little weird jump that you'll see where you have to jump like as close to the edge as possible, and you'll just get over the gap. I always find small stuff like that interesting.
Yeah.
So while we're here, do you want to explain camera cancels? Because we've done that and I've used it a little bit.
Yeah, I got you. I'll explain camera cancels and frame perfect jumps.
Yeah.
So what a camera cancel is every time you take a launch star, this only has to be done during launch stars, not sling stars. If you go in first person and then go out of first person using the camera stick. I can hear myself. Wait, what the heck? Okay, no, we're good. Sorry, that just freaked me out a little bit. Basically, what that does is that saves a second every time because you don't get to see Luigi's landing animation. Now, there is a landing animation at the beginning of every level that you have to see unless you press A frame perfectly when you land. Luigi will jump and you can actually skip it. That saves a second, but it's a lot harder because camera cancels are very lenient, whereas frame perfect jumps are not. They're frame perfect, as in the name. And in certain levels, like Flip Switch, Pliny might get mad at me for this one, but getting a frame perfect jump is actually worse than not getting a frame perfect jump. So it's not always the best, but most of the times it is.
But is it always worth going for? Like, it loses no time to go for them?
It loses no time to go for.
Yeah. You're just pressing A. If nothing happens, then it's just normal.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So yeah, there's a couple tricks in this game that we were talking about very flashy strats earlier. This is one of them. It's actually one of the most easy strats to do. So if you want to do this one, just bring out your console and do it at home. But all you gotta do, triple jump on top of that cage, boop, onto the other planet. So the reason for that is, as you can see, there's a big, giant robot on this planet. That being said, that big, giant robot needs a big, giant gravity field. So it's very close to the starting planet, so you can just skip all that intro stuff.
The funny thing is, once you do that gravity skip, there's only one specific spot on the planet that works, so you can literally just walk around for as long as you want until you reach that spot.
Yeah, you have to go to the starting cutscene trigger, or else you'll just be roaming.
Shout outs to Danny in chat. She said that walking around on the Mega Leg planet without the boss spawning in feels illegal, and I think that's very true.
Oh, interesting. I don't know what happened to my long jump there. I got a little caught.
That was interesting.
Yeah, there's moments in this game where the gravity will be weird, or just the shape of the planet will be weird. Just gotta have to go with whatever happens.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to cover dupes, or do you want me to?
I mean, I don't really do dupes in this level.
That's
I don't really
fair.
do dupes at all, but there is, if you... I mean, you would probably, go for it. You know
Okay.
it better than I do.
Now you're good. There's also a funny thing in this game where if you collect star bits as you collect the launch star, then they'll actually be
star.
duplicated. I said a launch star, didn't I? If you collect star bits as you collect any star, it doesn't even have to be a grand star, it can be a power star or a grand star. The star bits will actually duplicate if you do it at the right time, which obviously in this category doesn't matter too much because star bits are not tight, but you know, in 120, which is the 100% category, star bits are a lot more like in demand, so stuff like that is just pretty cool. Just a little bit of knowledge that can be cool.
Also, yeah, real quick, while we head over to Fountain, we can probably get like 2 or 3 donations in.
Yeah, can do. So we have a couple donations here for the Stardew Valley bid war that came in for Adopt a Cat versus Adopt the Dog. We have $10 that came in from Darkrai 3110 that says Stardew Valley bid war, adopt a cat, please. However, we also have $100 from Panza that says
Panza.
shout out to the better bro Luigi. Donation goes to adopt the dog.
No!
Ooh.
The dog is now winning. Now, as much as I love adopting dogs and adopting cats, I've already mentioned on the stream that I am pro dog. The only thing I like more than dogs, however, is rhythm games. Now, hear me out.
Ooh.
I know everybody really wants to get those donations in for the bid war, but I do also want to encourage all of you to get some donations in for the incentive we currently have going for Pump It Up later tonight, to see Zelo do some bonus co-op songs with Haru. That we need $500 to unlock. We are currently at $125 of that $500. So we need $375 more towards that incentive. So I love cats, I love dogs, but I love Pump It Up more. And you all definitely want to see co-op songs. I don't know how many of you have seen co-op Pump It Up before, but it's awesome. Co-op Pump It Up is incredible. So get some donations into that, show that some love, but also sidebar, let's go dog.
Gotta say, I'm
on
Team Cat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pro dog.
No.
Ooh.
Yes.
I'm team dog.
Team dog.
Alright, real quick, Theo, would you like to explain what's going
Yeah.
on here, real? I'm just kind
So-
of bouncing back and forth.
So what Platy's doing here, and she got it second try, which is really good. That is called Space Junk 1 skip. That is a pretty large skip. It saves 20 to 30 seconds, and you do this level twice, so it saves around a minute total. But it's pretty tricky because you have to make sure Luigi's rotation in the pole star is correct, and that's something that the player doesn't have too much control over. But using that pole star, if you get the right angle, you'll have enough speed to land at a later part in the level. And then what Platy just did there is called sludgy hop. If you
My impress didn't happen, it's okay.
You didn't die. You're good.
I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't see anything. But sludgy hop, basically she did what's called a mega triple jump, which if you do a triple jump on a platform with rotating gravity and you let go of the stick, your momentum will carry you and you'll do an even higher triple jump than normal. Usually you'd have to break all those crystals and activate the toad to summon the toad ship, but that loses about 20 seconds. It's really slow.
No.
Yeah, that was a really good Space Junk 1.
No, that was alright. A little bit of a heart attack, but
Mm-hmm.
it's all good. You know, that level those two tricks are like the worst thing, because they're immediately right after Terrace. And usually when you get at a Terrace, you're like, alright, finally, no, hopefully more reset land, we're just zoom in, and then you have a terrible Space Junk 1, and it's like, what's even the point?
Yeah, I think Fountain is probably the hardest dome, but
Fountain's pretty tough.
yeah, and funny thing is, before the run, Platy did this level, and that was not just for practice, actually. That was to set up the boss in this level. We found out about 2 or 3 years ago that you can manipulate the patterns, because usually the boss throws fireball, shell, fireball, shell, fireball, shell. However, the shells are needed to hit Camilla, that's the name of the boss, and if you, before the run starts, go into the level and have Camilla throw fireballs and then hit her with shells, you can manipulate it so that during the run, she will just throw shell, 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 and you won't experience any of the fireballs, which is really good. Saves a decent bit of time, saves about 7 to 10.
Oh, really? I thought it was like 20.
Nah, I mean, I'm just going off what I was told, so...
Fair.
You can actually take a shell into the boss fight. Devs didn't think of this one.
That's a little silly, yeah. We can just go boop. Something that's interesting though about the green shells is that there are green shells and red shells in this game, and if you've ever played Mario Kart, you would know what that means. Green shells are just, you throw it, it goes. Red shells are homing, so whatever it homes in on, it will aim into, so you don't really have to do any aiming itself. However, there is actually a slight amount of homing, like, functionality in the green shells, and sometimes that'll just take over and you'll have the weirdest moments ever. Like, you'll throw a green shell straight and it sees, like, a Koopa slightly to the left of the slightly, like 1 pixel of the Koopa, all the way to the left of the screen, and the shell's like, nah, I swear I gotta go. It goes just directly left. I've had some very strange moments. Thankfully that didn't happen in the run though, but honestly I kind of think it would have been funny.
It's always a little bit of freak out whenever that happens, just like, bro, what the heck?
You know, I've had it home into a random Koopa that's to the left. I've had it home into the treasure chest, which there are 2 chests there. There's one for a 6-up, I believe, which just gives you extra hits, which we don't ever take in the run. Not in this run, anyway. And then there's another red shell. So at least if you get the red shell one, it's like, alright, well, I have a red shell now, but not really useful. Yeah, shells on a mission, for sure.
Yeah, and I think going into Battle Rock now, I believe.
Nope, rolling green.
Yeah, you can tell I don't use this route. But I mean, all the levels are pretty much the same, -2 or 3. So.
Yeah, we do a lot of the same levels, just in a different order. But yeah, the order is very, very important, like we said. So the way that you route things in this game is based off of comet cycles. Certain comets appear when certain galaxies or levels have been unlocked, so making sure that they're in the places where we want them to be is quite confusing at times to route, which is why, again, I don't touch that. That's why they have PhDs in the routing department.
PhD.
Yeah, no, this level's pretty self-explanatory, just a lot of motion control movement. There's a certain amount of levels that use motion controls in this game, because it was for the Wii, so of course they had to use motion controls. The first one that we saw was the Manta Ray level, and this one is now the ball. They control basically the same way. Again, motion controls, but you have a little bit more movement range with the ball. You just kind of go wherever.
So, in your opinion, since you've played on both Wii and Switch, would you say the motion controls are any different? Like, do you think one's better than the other? Or...
Personally, I don't really notice that much of a difference, other than just the way, I mean, the controllers are different sizes. Maybe that kind of affects how much oomph you gotta put into it on your part, but personally, I don't really see a difference, although many people could probably tell me wrong.
That makes sense. Then, you know, I feel like Joy-Cons do a good job in recreating the Wii's motion controls, even if sometimes it can be a little sketchy.
For sure. Yeah, no, when they announced 3D All-Stars, I was so excited. I was like, oh my gosh, I finally get to play Galaxy on Switch. It's gonna be so cool. And I was really excited because the Joy-Cons are pretty perfect emulation of what the Wii Remote and the Nunchuck was. So I played through my casual playthrough of this game on 3D All-Stars with the Joy-Cons, but then I actually switched to my Pro Controller halfway through, I believe, and when I was learning the speedrun for it, I actually wanted to use the Pro Controller because it felt better on my hands after a little bit. However, for some reason, Nintendo was like, we're gonna make the most obscure differences for no reason between the characters. So when you play as Mario, if you shake with your right controller, he will get a little bit higher of a jump. However, as Luigi, if you spin with your left controller, he will get a little bit of a higher jump. So in order to get some tricks, or to make some tricks easier, running on Joy-Cons is just the most optimal, so you can get that little bit of a higher jump, which this is an auto-scroller, so maybe I can show that here. So as you can see, that was the jump with the right one, and that's the jump with the left. You probably couldn't even tell.
It looks the same to me.
However, it's very noticeable when it comes to certain tricks that require jump
sure.
height, because then you're just not getting it, and you're like, why? It's like, oh, I was shaking with the wrong controller. But anyway, yes, this is a classic auto-scroller level, so we can get in some more donations.
I'm just going to use the time to continue to push the Pump It Up incentive,
For sure.
because it could use some love. We've also got some, thank you so much, T-Tree, in chat. Check out chat. We have !donate, !incentives, and !BHBF for some extra information about what we're all doing here today, and about Blackheart's Boston Fund. So follow those links to donate, and for the extra incentives, the Pump It Up incentive that I'm going to push again is for some co-op Pump It Up. You really want to see it, so make sure you check that out. And remember, when you donate on Ko-fi, to add the incentive that you would like to donate to in your comment, or else we won't know where it's going to go, and that would be very sad. So remember, put it in your comment when you donate, and thanks again.
Yeah. That was very interesting. I've never had 2 bullet bills come for me. It's very menacing right now.
I've never seen that before. That's interesting.
I think it's because I jump in button to trigger the bullet bill. You need to be close enough for the bullet bill to see you, to, start homing in on you, but I've never had both of them come. Hey, at least I got a backup. One of them died. Sometimes the bullet bills, they like to pick a weird path. They don't really, care about obstacles, they just care about you. So if your lines are in a certain way, it'll run into that starbit cage there, and you'll have to go back and take another one, which is often annoying. So I like to go around the saucer, like, as close to the edge as possible.
Gonna have a couple more stars in Fountain, and then that'll be it, and move on to Kitchen.
Cool. Alright, so I'm very curious about this. I want to know just in general, not like specifically, because a lot of people ask me like, oh, what's your favorite dome or like level in this game? And I'm like, well, it kind of depends on if you're considering speedrunning it or casually. But I'm just gonna throw out the answer to both of you, just in general, whatever factors you want to consider to both Hex and Thorn, because Thorn does not run this game, but Hex does, so I'm curious if there's like any cursed takes that one another could give each other.
Like, are you asking for like our favorite levels or just any cursed takes?
Let's say Dome, actually.
Dome?
Let's do
Okay.
Dome.
Yeah, I'll give a cursed take. My favorite dome is Garden.
Oh, right, that is your favorite dome. Yeah, that is cursed.
I listen, it's fun. I guess, okay, but if we're talking any percent, it's got to be Engine Room. Engine Room's a lot of fun.
Engine Room can be fun.
I have to be honest, I don't know which levels are in which domes.
Valid! Alright, what's your favorite level then? Let's do levels.
I also am not very familiar with the names of the levels.
Bro, just describe it. It's all good. We'll have a little game for ourselves.
Which ones? I like the ones that are icy and you get to like skate around.
Oh yes, Freeze Flame is my favorite level. I love Freeze Flame.
Of course.
Those look fun.
It's because they are.
Everybody says Freeze Flame is the best level. I'm gonna be honest, I just don't see it. Like, I'm
I
like
don't think
one
it's
of the
best,
only
but it
few.
is my personal favorite. 100%.
This is what everyone says, and it's just like, I don't know. Like, Freeze Flame is cool, but I feel
You're right, it is cool. It's also hot.
So if Freeze Flame is the best galaxy, does that mean that Bedroom is the best dome by
You
association?
see, that you would think, but Dome or Bedroom also has Dusty Dune, which is like one of the worst levels for speedrunning. Although Theo's gonna come and say that it's
Now
the best. I'm
listen.
almost
But
positive.
it also
It's
has
not
Dusty
the
Garden,
best.
which is like iconic music.
I know. Also that.
I'm gonna spit another curse take. Dusty Dune is not that bad. I think
No,
Dusty
I actually
Dune...
started to like Dusty Dune when I
Yeah.
ran 120. So I'm just being a general negativity.
No, I think if I had to say what the best level in my opinion is,
Mhm.
I think it's Gold Leaf.
What?
Yeah, Gold Leaf is a lot of fun.
Gold Leaf is fun. My problem with it though is that, I mean, well, okay, maybe it's not that much of a problem, but it literally is just a reskin of Honey Hive. Although they do a decent amount of different stuff with it. It's basically, so Gold Leaf and Honey Hive, they're both very similar levels, but Gold Leaf is just reversed. It's mirrored Honey Hive, and it's also fall, which is pretty neat.
I'm gonna explain a couple things that went on in that level because I bet some people in chat were probably
for sure.
curious. So what Platy did there in a lot of the portions was basically the way cycles work in this game is they only move when they're on screen. If they're off screen, it's like they don't exist. So Platy used the camera there to advance some cycles and pause some other ones. Mainly, a big example is that last planet where she shot out of the cannon to get the star. At the beginning of the level, when she was waiting for the cage to explode, she looked off screen so that cycle didn't advance. Once she got to the end of the level, she could just insta-shoot the cannon and reach the star. A lot of stuff in this game is just so little that you don't pick up on it, but once it's explained, it makes such a big difference, which is why Galaxy's really cool.
Mm-hmm. You know, that's what I always love talking about is like the minor optimizations, because again, in this game, specifically this category, there's really not a lot of like glitches or anything like that. They're mostly just like either gravity exploits or movement exploits, something like that. But those little things is just so neat to me. That's really what makes this game.
And then back in Space Junk 1 skip, second try, very, very solid.
Second try again. You know, during this week, during one of my practice runs, I've had runs where Luigi just refuses to go, and I've been there for like 5-6 tries. I'm like, man. It's especially tough in this one because this one is timed. So if you actually spend enough time there, you could just have not enough time to finish the level, which I'm having a little bit of a trouble with this triple jump right here, but that's iffy.
There we go. Yeah. You know, the time limits in this game are pretty generous, but they can catch up to you if you spend too much time on that skip. So, but I think for Plaid, it's not going to be an issue.
Ah, we're chilling.
Gamer. Yeah, that's pretty much the end of Space Junk 1. We're not going to see this level anymore, thank God.
Yeah, we see it too many times throughout the run. Twice too many, honestly.
Yeah. In fact, I'd say even once is too many, but unfortunately, you have to do it.
Mm.
So you already talked about some of your favorite galaxies and have already talked a little bit about your least favorite. Would you say this is definitely like bottom tier, bottom 3? Any controversial opinions about your least favorite domes or galaxies?
I'd say this is probably close to the bottom.
It's pretty bottom. I wouldn't say it was bottom 3. There's just a lot of annoying things that can happen, and in actually the harder Starbit route version of this category, you have to do Space Junk 3, which involves sling pod movement, which sling pod movement is just, that just goes along with the cursor. Sometimes it's just a little janky. But you have to do this spider fight where you throw yourself off the web and hit certain spots, and sometimes your aim can just be off, and it's very frustrating to perform well and fast, so I'm happy that I don't do that stage, but I'm sure I'll have to switch over to that route eventually.
Yeah, that stage is, I'd argue it's a contender for worst stage in the run.
That
It's
stage is
so
pretty
hard. In terms of worst like levels or worst galaxies,
Personally, for me, it's Drip Drop.
Yeah.
Drip Drop in 2P is just so much easier because you can stun the eels. We'll explain it, when we get there. But for me, I just have to make sure that I do the eels in a certain order as to where they don't go too far away from me, because again, if it's not on screen, it doesn't exist. So sometimes you'll have a moment where the eels will just not be on screen, and you have to, like, drive halfway across the planet to see them again, because the camera angle is so weird. So that personally for me, just because if you mess up, it's really hard to back up.
Yeah, those eels are another example of if it's not on screen, it doesn't exist. So if you mess up at any point and you put one of them on screen on accident, it's going to be, it's going to
Not
be
where you want
running.
it to be.
Yeah.
What about you? What about you guys? Worst level that you can think of.
This is a Thorn. You want to go first? I'm gonna need a minute.
I'll say what I'm thinking. Like, not okay. So
if you say what you think, you might be suspended 6 months.
Okay,
Be careful.
No. So I haven't really run this, but just I've watched a decent bit on Twitch, and one thing that I'm anxious about learning is the thing in the beginning where you go. Is it Honey Hive one skip? Is that what it's called? It's something.
The tree skip?
Yeah, the tree.
Yeah.
That skip alone seems terrifying.
It's very annoying for resets for sure. Any trick that's just an early game is just bound to be a bunch of resets eventually, so you just end up hating it regardless.
So that's one I would not. I'm anxious about learning.
That's valid.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm not a Beach Bowl fan. I don't really like Beach Bowl at all. You'll see why later, but
gameplay-wise or aesthetics-wise, even too?
No, not aesthetics-wise. I love the aesthetics, but I'm just. I guess for me, I'm more a speedrun brain, so I'm thinking
fair.
like in a speedrun, Beach Bowl is just one of those levels where it's like, all right, we're finished. We can finally enjoy ourselves now. It's also the same thing with. Ghostly Galaxy is like that, but at least Ghostly Galaxy can be fun.
Do you guys prefer like levels where you swim, or is swimming not that much fun in this game?
I don't think so.
Surface swims, which we can see later, is cool, but that's speedrunning tech. That's not casually. Swimming around is. This game doesn't really have the best. I would say this game is pretty bottom tier when it comes to swimming mechanics out of like all Mario games.
But granted, are there any games where swimming is the thing that people like doing?
That's fair. That's fair.
I like controlling the fish in Odyssey.
Yeah, fish
when
is fun.
When you capture the fish.
Any game where you're not a human swimming, or like a humanoid resembling thing, when you're a creature, it's fantastic.
Yeah, if you get to have fins and like you're meant to be swimming,
then it's good.
Yeah.
One of the differences between Luigi and Mario, which you'll see a little bit later, is actually that Luigi's swimming is harder. So basically, I'm pretty sure that they wanted to make like Luigi the hard mode in this game, just because, well, you're playing the whole game for a second time. Might as well make something different, a little challenge for you. So not only are the cosmic clones harder, which I just thought of as well, but swimming is actually supposed to be harder too. Every time you swim or you shake underwater, your air goes down very, very fast, so that can be somewhat of a problem in speedruns, which is, the fastest way to swim is to shake, but also the fastest way to drown is to shake. So managing that, knowing where the bubbles are, and a lot of underwater levels is very important.
Yeah, I think honestly, if we're just looking at an entertainment aspect, Sea Slide is probably the worst one.
It's pretty boring. Sea Slide is a pretty boring level.
Yeah, that's probably the one I'd say is like the worst level is probably Sea Slide.
For that boss,
the vibes in Sea Slide are fantastic, 100%.
For that boss that you just did there, isn't there something specific about Switch or playing on the Nintendo Switch? I don't know what it is. I only know what I hear people say, but I don't know what it is.
So it's a little bit more noticeable in one of the garden levels, actually later on in the 120 run, but we don't do that in any percent. But for some reason in this game, there's very minor differences between the Wii version of this game and the 3D All-Stars version of this game. By the way, what I did there was just a death warp, so don't worry. not jumping into a black hole for no reason.
Died.
But yeah, so one of the only differences in this run is that, or in Wii U versus Switch, is that first of all, in Sea Slide, like we were just talking about, the water level is slightly lower for some reason, so sometimes you'll get caught on this gate that usually we can just slide past. Not the case in this version. It's like very just half and half. And then for some reason, that boss that we just did, Top Man, is just sometimes he goes crazy. He just goes super, super fast, and there's a setup that we like to do to get quick kills on him, but if he goes super, super fast, you kind of have to adjust quickly, and hopefully you can back it up well. It doesn't lose that much time, but it's just very annoying whenever it happens, because we have no idea why.
Yeah, I'm going off what I heard, but I think it's every third time you fight the boss when you play the game, which is so weird. Like, it's something that I can't even explain, but every third time you fight the boss, he just goes sicko mode.
Gives you a little extra challenge, why not?
Also, that was a very good Bowser level. That was really, really solid. The Bowser levels I find can be really, really hard.
You know, the Bowser Jr. levels are usually... I don't really like the Bowser Jr. levels that much, but the Bowser levels themselves I actually do. Like, there's a lot of cool movement that are in the Bowser sections. So these are supposed to be, you know, the hard levels of the game, I'm assuming. So notice me wait here for a little bit before I go after him. And, well, maybe you won't, I don't know. But if you did, there is actually a reason for that. So if you start running right away, Bowser will try and throw you off and go into a different direction. But in order to make it kind of consistent and make sure that he's going where you want him to go, where you think he's going, I wait a little bit so that way he doesn't try and juke me.
Very, very smart strategy.
Yep, and you also saw me do a little bit of a weird long jump there to kind of nuzzle myself in between the blue spot and Bowser's face. And that's just to get the quickest way to make him activate his jump and then go down and hit it right away.
Yeah, you can skip a lot of attack patterns by doing that, and it saves a decent chunk of time. Again, something that if you're not looking for it, you probably wouldn't notice.
Yeah, another Grand Star, so you know what that means. Time for our lovely host to come back and tell us some good messages, whatever they may be.
Yeah, do I have some time to just talk a little bit about what we're doing here? Since we're almost about an hour into the run, we might have some new viewers in here. So, for anybody who doesn't know or is new to hopping into the stream, this is Blackheart's Boston Fund. This is a mutual aid fundraiser helping to raise money to help Blackheart, also known as Blackheart Wings, also known as Gabby, move to Boston. So she's going through a major life change right now, and so we're here crowdsourcing funds to help her afford her move so that she can afford travel, housing, and other basic necessities. So this is an impromptu event, and so all of the runners and volunteers and everyone here, thank you so much. This could not be possible without all of you, but also could not be possible without everybody here who's watching right now and everybody who's donated so far. So right now we are currently going for a milestone. Today is our last day of the marathon. We've got a couple more hours left, and we're trying to raise $4,000. So we're currently at $3,435 out of that 4,000. Hitting 4,000 will also unlock an additional bonus run at the very end by Blackheart Wings herself. So you definitely want to see that. It's Stardew Valley Craft Room. which will be really, really cool. But yeah, thank you so much to everybody who is here. And yeah, get those donations in if you want to help out. But also thank you for just being here, even if you can't donate at the time.
Yeah. Woo.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you again.
That was perfect timing. So, Hex, if you would like to explain what Tilt is here.
Don't mind if I do.
Yeah, go for it.
So, Tilt is one of the more... It's pretty much just a 1P exclusive mechanic because 2P doesn't have to worry about it. But Tilt is... I'm going to be honest. I'm not too sure all the specifics, but based off of some platforms Luigi stands on, it will affect something called tilt, which means some jumps may be smaller or higher than usual, and you need good tilt for this triple jump right here.
Ooh, didn't make it. I'll go for it again, but might not have the tilt. Sometimes you just don't get it.
Yeah, see, so
good.
It's just something that's affected by the platforms you stand on, and basically sometimes you'll have good enough tilt, otherwise you won't. So it's unfortunately not something that you can really affect. It's just you either get it or you don't, and that's why more people use 2P, because it's, again, something that they don't have to worry about. So unfortunately, bad tilt there, but Plati recovered nicely, and it's all good.
You know, good. You saw me go on a palm tree there for a second, which might have looked a little funky, but that's actually a setup for tilt. Which again, sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. It is what it is. But we specifically try to not get an FPJ there, because that can mess up your tilt. We want to not go on the beach for as long as possible, because apparently that can mess up your tilt as well. And then you want to get to that tree and land on that palm tree branch that I did, because that sets up your tilt in a way that should work. And then if you do a proper triple jump up there, you can just skip that whole section. But again, sometimes tilt is tricky. Doesn't like me.
Yeah, and if you like
to the best of us.
If you like sneeze the wrong way, it messes up your tilt, and like, you know, tilt is just so fickle.
Yeah, very, very dumb mechanic. Definitely one of the biggest reasons why people go to 2. Well, maybe not, but for me, it's been one of the biggest pushings to try and get me to do 2P. But still here with 1P. Haven't left yet.
Very commendable.
You know, so this star is always funny. I like this star. It's one of the shortest stars in the game, and you go up to this penguin sensei and you're just like, yo, I want a golden shell. He's like, go get the golden shell. And then you give it to him and he's like, are you in the part of the class? So you're just taking these kids' grades for like no reason. Making them all fail for personal gain.
Crazy. Bro did not
To be fair though, the penguins don't even try to do anything. Like, I just, if they cared about it, clearly they would have fought back, but I just yoinked that.
Yeah. This professor got to curve the exam, because I don't think anyone passing.
Yeah, it seems kind of like a flawed test mechanic. Oh my. I have to reevaluate.
Did I just see Luigi bully a bunch of kids for grades?
Yeah. Bro, penguin education system in shambles. Someone fix that. What?
I hope I don't get kicked off. I don't know what's worse, the American education system or the penguin education system.
Both bad.
Oh,
Both
no.
Hmm.
Yeah, this level's a little funky. So this level has other things that can definitely go wrong that are a little weird. First of all, this shell, depending on where you spin near the penguin, sometimes the penguin will just actually try and defend himself and not let you take the shell, but thankfully we yanked it just like that. So sometimes you have to go and get a backup shell and stuff like that. It took me the longest time to like find out how to get on this platform consistently, just because of the way that I was doing it before. I would always try and like get a really high boost out of there, but then sometimes I'd miss and you'd have to... Movement with the shell is very, very strange. You can't just get out of the water. You have to leap. So sometimes the angles are really bad and it's just impossible to recover. But thankfully, if you just go to the surface of the water and then jump at the right time, it's all good. But for some reason, I just could not figure that out for the life of me for the longest time.
Yeah, it's actually not exactly an uncommon mistake. I actually struggled with that for a while as well, so I get you.
Yeah, but I was actually going to see if I could go for this triple jump strike here, but I'm definitely not going to have enough time, which is okay. There's a very tight triple jump strike that you can do. So in this game, for some reason, when you are in the Ice Flower power-up, the game does not let you have your proper spin. You just won't get any height from it at all. But if you time it properly, that you do a triple jump and then the power-up runs out while you're at the peak of your triple jump, you can spin and grab that star. But again, very tight timing. We have a backup for it, so all good.
Yeah, that jump to the star that Platy did is a lot more complicated than it looks. You really have to deal with probably the worst camera in the run, and the angles you have to hold aren't exactly the most lenient, so she did a very good job there.
Also that, very weird. That back jump as well, I kind of have a visual cue for it. There's still like white patch that's on the ledge. Usually if you long jump off of that, or if you backflip off of that, you'll be able to get the star, as long as you just go directly left. But that camera can sometimes be very strange to you. Just kind of move it around, doing whatever it wants.
Definitely. Ooh, fun level. Ghostly 1. So there's going to be a skip in the end of this level called Mansion Clip, and it actually looks really, really cool. It's one of the more flashy Galaxy skips, and basically, so we're going to get to use the Boo power-up, and I think a lot of people remember the Boo power-up from when they played this game. It turns Luigi into a Boo. You know, pretty self-explanatory, but what's going to happen before we get the Boo power-up is Platy's going to use a pull star to clip underneath the mansion and reach an area farther than what you would usually end up in. And it saves around 15 to 20 seconds, but most importantly, it looks really cool. Speaking of looking really cool, that was really good.
That was very good movement. So that rainbow star is a little bit harder to control than you think. The longer you run in that rainbow star, the faster you go. Of course, it caps at some point, but if you run into like a wall, or you shake, or you jump, or whatever, all your speed is lost. So we try to get all those star chips, or at least the first 4 of them with the rainbow star. And if you mess up, it actually does lose way more time than it should. A nice mansion clip.
Just like that.
Well, you know, it looks a little funky at first. It looks like you're just long jumping into the abyss for no reason, but... Yeah, that trick is kind of really hard to wrap your head around at first with the timing and everything, but once you get it, it's kind of one of those tricks that you're like, oh, okay, I got it now.
Yeah.
We have the Boo hidden there. I always like looking at what position the Boo is in during that cutscene. Usually he has his tongue out, but today he was shy. Yeah, that was really good. I usually lose a lot of time there just because of the rainbow star movement, but it's weird.
Yep.
Yep, so Up and Coming is everybody's favorite level, surely. When you think about Galaxy, speedruns, and like the movement and all that, this is probably what you imagine. Sweet, sweet. It's a lot of long jumps. It's pretty much all it is, but...
Yeah. Again, this
Thankfully,
is
there's actually not a lot of levels like that, but this one... You can turn your brain off, kind of, but you do have to pay attention, because sometimes you'll get weird angles, and if you bonk and die into the hole, then it's just very sad. It's a very sad
it hurts.
Mhm.
And is this a level where you don't want to get a frame perfect jump at the beginning? Or
Nah,
it doesn't
you
really
can.
matter? Okay.
I don't know, there's certain levels that you actually can't for some reason. In certain levels it's impossible to get an FPJ, but I'm pretty sure you can in this level.
I wasn't sure if it would help with the cycles or not.
Nah. Good question, though.
So, and I think... I was going to say something. This is what Galaxy runners think. This is what non-Galaxy runners think Galaxy is like. All long jumps. And they see this level and they're like, see, I told you, it's just long jumps. Like, dude, it's one level.
It's long jumps with holes. Ooh.
True.
So yeah, granted that this level's pretty self-explanatory. We have time for a couple donations.
I don't know what you're talking about. All I see is long jumps. That's all I've seen this entire run. As a non-Galaxy runner myself, yeah, I don't know. This is just long jumps. I have no donations to read at the moment, but am going to push the Pump It Up incentive one more time. So we have a bunch of incentives going. ! Incentives in chat if you want to see all of them. One of the biggest ones we've got is later tonight, Zelo will be doing a Pump It Up showcase. And you can donate to have them bring on their partner and make them do co-op with them. which will be very, very entertaining to watch, not just because co-op is very fun, but also because they will be bringing their partner on and making them do co-op with them. So please get your donations in order to do that. We need to hit $500 before the end of the Pump It Up run. So we need $375 more, but 125 out of the 500. So remember, get your donations in and put it in the comment which incentive you are donating towards. So please put that you're putting it towards the Pump It Up incentive if you want to see that extra co-op run. Back to the long jumps.
Back to the long jumps, clearly. Yeah, this level actually has a cool skip, if you want to explain the 2 different versions of this trick.
Yeah, I got you. So basically, what you're intended to do is, funny enough, you're intended to take the normal route in Honey Hive 1, but we never saw the normal route in Honey Hive 1, and we will not be seeing it here, because what Platy's going to do is, I believe, she's going to climb up on the fence, fall down, and spin to reach the platform right before the star, and skip 50% of the level. And you can actually do another skip where you go off earlier and land right under the star, but it actually relies on a glitchy wall jump, which is not very consistent. It only saves around 1 to 2 seconds and loses like 35. So you can tell the risk and reward is not exactly there.
And that's where it's gonna fall. Whee! And we have a platform underneath us. Yep. Let's go. You know, that other strat is ridiculously hard. Also, that was like gold, by the way.
That's pretty good.
Awesome. It was like less than a second, I'm almost positive. Yeah, next we got Good Egg L. There's actually 3 Luigi missions in total, but we do all 3 of them in this run because they're very, very fast. We go into levels that we've already done before, and all of a sudden Luigi is trapped! We need to save him! This time he is trapped on the roof! Little bro could probably just, you know, jump down and he'd be okay, but it's fine. We'll save him. Gonna give Luigi a little visit. Hello, bro. Says, hey, look, I got a star for you. Let me yoink it.
It's hardest level in the run right there.
Yeah, actual hardest level.
That seemed frame perfect to me. That was
it was
absolutely cool.
It's actually double frame perfect.
Oh my gosh.
Alright.
Yep, now we are done with our little terrace cleanup here. We stopped by terrace one more time for another Luigi star, but...
It's right at the end.
Yep, we're going back to kitchen now. On the way to a pretty infamous level in the community as of recently. Ever since the switch to 3D All-Stars, I have noticed a little bit more frequent Beach Bowl 3 death, and hexspeedruns can explain why.
So yeah, basically, not having notches in this game really isn't that much of a difference for most levels, except for this one. It plays a huge role because on Wii U, basically the skip is you long jump off with an angle that's up left, and then when you spin, you switch to left. However, it was a lot easier on Wii because they had notches that you could just use. Switch doesn't have those notches, and while it's not the most precise skip in the world, it definitely can make a noticeable difference. And so that's why a lot of people die on Beach Bowl 3 and Comet, because you do this level twice. But I don't think Platy will die on them today, I believe.
You believe? Sure.
I do. I'm a believer.
You know, this was also one of the tricks that I had a major phase of why won't it work. There's a lot of weird tricks in this game where sometimes, I mean, especially for me, sometimes I'll just accidentally unlearn them, and then I have to go through this whole phase where I'm basically relearning it. Also, I tried to get a triple jump over that Fox box there, but unfortunately I didn't get it. That's okay, though.
It's all good. No harm, no foul.
Nope. It's a neat little thing when you do get it. Ooh, unfortunate.
Ooh.
Yeah. Unfortunately, a late spin there, but
actually.
missing that only loses around 20 seconds, so it's nothing huge by any means.
Listen, we had at least one this
True.
run, okay? I was hyping it up to be hard, I gotta show that off. Can't be too good here.
Yeah, right there. See? She just wanted to show what happens if you missed it. She
Yeah,
can get it
exactly.
perfectly, but she wanted to show it off.
I will be showing it off again, literally in 2 minutes. A minute, probably, actually. Yeah, no, usually for that trick, that is definitely, well, it's like barely possible as Mario. That's one of the tricks that Mario 1P, it's just not worth it to go for it at all. It's pretty much probably frame perfect, if, you know, you can even get it. Maybe tennis only, who knows, but there's a different setup for 2P that works for both characters.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so this next level is literally what we just saw, but faster! So all the enemies move really fast, we just spawn on the stone cyclone, and we do it again.
Alright, so I have a question that I've been wondering.
Of
So this is
course.
any percent Luigi, but what exactly
Yes.
is any percent? Like, what are the requirements in order to... What do you have to do?
So, any percent has 61 stars in it. Basically, you're trying... that's just pretty much it. You want to get to 60 stars as fast as possible. That is the qualifications for unlocking the final Bowser level. And then the final Bowser is 1 star. So by the end of the run, you get 61 stars. But that's pretty much it. Which kind of makes routing fun in this game.
Mm-hmm.
You just want to go... Literally just want to go fast.
Yeah, the funny
Shortest,
thing
the
is...
quickest levels.
Yep.
Funny thing is also, the comets in this game work a weird way where they're on a cycle always, so it adds another element of challenge to routing because in order for us to get all the fastest comets, we have to do certain levels at certain times. So while you think there's a lot of freedom for routing, it's really minimal, and that's why it's important Plati has her splits up right now to make sure she stays on the correct route, because if she messes up a star and throws off the entire comet cycles, it could really make a difference.
You know, that's what I always say, like, when it comes to making mistakes in this game, there's certain types of speedruns where, you know, oh, most of your mistakes will come from either being, like, rusty, or your movement, or something like that, but when you're derusting in this game, most of the, time losses that you'll see comes from just brain error. Like, you'll forget where to go in the observatory, or you'll forget to talk to Male Toad, or you'll accidentally click the wrong star. So that is why it is usually very important to have splits up, just because there's 61 splits in this game, and while I can probably remember they go, I want to make sure that I do know where they go.
Yep.
Yep, so in this level we're actually not doing Ghostly 2. I believe that you do Ghostly 2 in the other route of any percent, but not for us today. We are going to do something, like not getting a long jump. We're going to be skipping a lot of this level. It's supposed to be somewhat an auto-scroller pretty much, but it doesn't actually get into the auto-scroller section until we get here. It's very easy to skip with some simple long jumps, stuff like that. There is a very difficult version that you could do with 2P called Helith, and that is using the invisible platforms. So as you can see, this level is kind of spawning as it goes up, but some platforms are actually just there forever, regardless of if you can see them or not. So there's versions of this trick where you can scale those invisible platforms, however, it is very, very hard and often not worth it, so...
Yeah, it only saves around 15 seconds, so definitely nothing to write home about.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you can get away. A lot of the things in this game, if you already noticed, is being comfortable with the strats that you do rather than going for all the fast and hard strats definitely
For sure.
makes a big difference. You can tell that Plati's very comfortable with the strats she does.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing... I mean, I want to start going for, you know, a bunch of crazy strats eventually, but it's just, in this game, given just how long it is, going through all of the strats just makes it... Honestly, I would say probably a less enjoyable experience. Speedrunning it, just because, you know, the run is so long. If you're trying to do all these strats and you're not getting them right away, it's just going to make your run longer, and you might have to reset more, which doing no resets in this game is very, very good, at least for me, because, again, it's so long, remembering to practice everything is... Sometimes it just doesn't happen, so best way to practice is just do the run.
Yeah, I mean, that's, you know, definitely... consistency also, again, is very important, and Plati finishes a lot of runs, so she very consistently gets times around where she wants to be, which is very good, especially for marathons. She set her estimate as 240. She's gonna blow through that, and that's just a product of consistency and practice and finishing runs.
Yeah. It's very easy to get rusty in late game, again, just because of how long the game is, or the category is. But I think it's nice. I think it's a vibe.
Definitely.
I mean, that
We don't
skip
mind.
looks like it's skipped a lot.
Yes! So that is also one of the easy, kind of flashy skips that you can see in this game. Well, not too flashy in the way that I did it, but flashy as in if you remember this game and you're like, hey, isn't there supposed to be, you know, something you do in this planet besides backflip and long jump right? Well, you're correct! That skips, like, about the entire second portion of that level. Say it's probably, I don't know, 40 seconds, something like that. All you gotta do is do a backflip. That's also one of the easy ones that you can do at home. Pull out your console.
I thought you were about to
Along
tell
with
me
us.
that I should just do a backflip.
Yeah, just do a backflip right now. Right now.
For all of us at home, we can all just stand up out of our seats, you know, do a little quick stretch, and do a backflip.
And do a backflip. You guys don't do a little backflip to quick stretch? That's what
I
really
always
did.
do that. I don't know about y'all.
I actually high-key want to learn to do stuff like that. I see videos of people just doing random stuff like backflips and like spinning on the ground and stuff like that. It's like, imagine how much of a flex that is. Just to pull that out for no reason.
Doing too much.
Bro, like that would be the greatest serve ever. Imagine if you were like young and in a spelling bee and you got it right and you just did a backflip on stage. How could you lose?
Full standing tuck, just like, yeah!
My downstairs neighbors will be thrilled. Listen, tell them to do backflips too, okay?
You can all
They
learn
won't hear
together.
you doing backflips if they're doing backflips, exactly. So yeah, this Bowser Jr. level is possibly one of the worst fights in this entire game. How this game likes to increase difficulty is just throwing more stuff at you, and often managing to dodge and weave through all that stuff is very annoying. While I don't do the fastest movement in this strat, I have kind of developed my own strats to make sure that I can consistently at least get those shots. When the bullet bills start coming in, it gets very annoying, so I try to guide the bullet bill so that they would hit the Kamek and also into each other, so I wouldn't have to worry about all of that, and that's pretty much the worst part of that fight is that third hit on the first phase, because that's when they start throwing all the stuff at you when you're already having stuff thrown at you already, and it can go south very fast. It can go south very fast. But
Very
thankfully, we got a
true.
pretty good fight.
Yeah, that was very clean. Airship Armada by Plati, very good. That boss
Yeah.
fight is the equivalent of a 9-year-old's Mario Maker level, just with all the enemy spam.
It literally is. Yeah, getting hit there once loses probably like N, just because you have to get another Koopa, you have to wait for it to spawn, to kind of avoid the new projectiles that are being thrown at you. They bring out the Kameks, they bring out the bullet bills, they bring out the fireballs. Too much.
Yeah, they brought out the entire freaking artillery.
Yeah, the entire thing just for that fight.
They're doing too much.
Which honestly, that does kind of make sense that they would use everything they have, because in the first Bowser Jr. fight, it's a big giant robot. The second Bowser Jr. fight is just a ship, and then the third Bowser Jr. fight isn't even Bowser Jr., it's just an octopus. Bowser Jr. just shows up and be like, yo, this is my dude, he's gonna fight you. But yeah, you do not see the giant octopus in this run, because it's slow. Yeah, important to remember to talk to Luigi there. The first time you get a Luigi letter, you get a cutscene for it, so you just go into it right away. But this one you actually do have to remember, and sometimes it is quite easy to forget.
Yeah, if
There's
you
a Toad
forget.
letter that you also have to read right at the end of the run, and oh, it is one of the worst feelings when you're just trying to go get to Terrace as fast as you can, and then you have to be like, nope, turn around, gotta talk to Toad.
Yeah, forgetting them, you know, it's one of those things where while it doesn't lose a whole bunch in the grand scheme of things, it's just so annoying, and it's just like such a beginner mistake. You're just like, man, what am I doing?
No, I mean, technically, it can be a very bad
It
mistake
can.
depending on when you catch it. If you don't realize that you didn't talk to Toad before you get a next star, that's kind of like run dead. 'Cause
Yeah.
you need to do a star in order for the Luigi star to activate after you've read the letter. And so you have to, that's like very scary with the comet cycles, and more often than not it is just a reset.
Mhm.
Oh my god. I actually got an FPJ there, which is pretty hard. I wasn't expecting it, so I jumped again.
Yeah, there. I feel like with this game, contrary to other games, there's a lot of like mistakes where someone new runs the game and they're like, yeah, I lost my run because something messed up. It's like, okay, it's one of three things. They either don't have enough star bits to feed the sweet Luma, they forget to talk to Luigi, or they forget to talk to Male Toad. It's always one of those three.
Yup. Very classic common mistakes. It happens to everybody. So yeah, now we're just dipping our toe in Fountain again for 2 more stars. Click 1 in Hurry Scurry, and then doing Battle Rock 1 again, but this time we're trying to get Luigi. And this is what I mean about the Starbit route being kind of weird. So you notice that in this level when we did it before, we collected like 88 Starbits, something like that. But this time we go into the level, we're actually not going to get any. I'm assuming because we skipped this opening cutscene, which gives us like 20 right at the start. But again, something I would like to ask them. Feels like you should get some here, but maybe just because we're in Fountain for so little, just like, don't even get any Starbits here.
It's definitely strange the way things work. Also, little thing that I want to shout out is Plati got the 2-for-2 gravity mini skips on that saucer. It's like a really tight optimization you can do where if you do a backflip and spin, instead of taking the sling star, you can kind of like zoom around to the screw, and Plati got it 2 times, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I was actually going to ask about that because it looked really impressive, but I'm not as familiar with this run, and so I was like, that looked really cool. And so I'm happy to hear that it also is very difficult to do because it looks awesome.
I mean, yeah, it's definitely like a timing thing that you have to be more aware of. There's a lot of things in this game that you just need to do it to get it down. That triple jump as well is also very annoying right before that planet, so in 2P, again, you don't have to worry about that at all. You can just backflip, 2P jump up there, boom, easy, done. But again, because I have 1P, we have to do things a little bit more complicated, so I have to do a triple jump kind of somewhere around, like, here, where I'm standing right now with Luigi, and sometimes timing that can be really annoying, and if you go a little bit too far or a little bit too far back, you're just not getting that, so you gotta reset up and do it again.
I hope you don't mind. I'm just gonna very quickly run to the bathroom. I'll be like back in like less than a minute.
You're good.
You're good.
I mind a lot.
This is the part where we say terrible things about hex speedruns, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, of course.
Talk about their controversial favorite galaxy opinions.
Yeah. Oh, can't believe this guy likes whatever he said. I can't remember.
I think he said Dusty Dune wasn't that bad.
Right? Yeah, Dusty Dune wasn't that bad. Although I can agree with that.
He runs on the Wii.
True, yeah, he runs on the Wii, which we always make fun of him for, because, I mean, yes, the 2P setup is definitely easier. Probably a little bit easier on your hands as well, although any 2P setup is just going to be not the best on your hands, because you're not supposed to play with controllers like that. But, you know, those load times, missing out. Yeah, a little bit short optimization here, you can actually just
You get
go
easier
through the middle.
bunnies.
True, yeah, easier bunnies. Yeah, now into the scary portion of the run. I feel like Gusty Garden is where a lot of things can start to go wrong. Bedroom is just the harbor of a lot of things that can go wrong. Again, in this game, there's some mistakes that you can make that don't really cost that much, but there is just a lot of mistakes in this game that can cost a lot of time for just no reason. So hopefully we won't get any too bad here, but... You know, Gusty Garden 1, I do enjoy the movement for Gusty Garden. There's a lot of fun gravity skips and stuff. You can just skip certain little mini planets, save a couple seconds. But for the most part, it's fairly straightforward. Don't skip anything too much.
Yeah, Gusty Garden's pretty. Ooh, let's go! The
On the
Piranha
plant.
Bounce. That's just a little bit of swag you can do. It saves like 2 or 3 seconds, and it's always really cool whenever that happens.
Yeah, this planet is the absolute worst to move around. It's like so weirdly shaped, it's kind of like a mini macaroni. It's kind of hard to get any good long jumps because you just get stuck. Yeah, here we're going to do a little bit of a skip where we do not pop out at the first planet we see, but we can actually take this wind all the way to the one over here. And then we do a cheeky little triple jump to get to the next one.
Yeah, this section can actually be pretty long, but Fly did a good job skipping that, and it saves a good chunk of time.
Yep. So coming up here, we actually have the bunny, which the bunny can be a menace. But there is a setup that we have for it. Hopefully I can get it. Sometimes it doesn't work, but we're gonna try and... Ooh,
Oink.
we're gonna try and come somewhat close to the bunny here, and as soon as we go, we want to long jump forward, and ooh, we either catch the bunny or jump on his head, which is that's an easy backup.
That was sick. Yeah, that backup was really, really good.
You know, honestly, I tend to like to overshoot rather than undershoot, just because if I do overshoot, then I can just have that easy backup, as opposed to undershooting, which the bunny just hops away. The bunny's just actually insane. Racer of the year. Kind of hard to catch him.
Bro cannot be caught.
Yeah, there's a lot of bunnies levels in this game. The bunnies, the bunnies. They're very annoying if there's like no way to cheese them, but thankfully, usually there is.
Do we have some time for a couple of donations that came in?
Yes!
So we have $5 that came in from Cassasaur. Thank you so much. That says, "Can't wait to see how you'll shine in Boston, my friend. Please put my incentive toward adopting a cat in Stardew Valley, less than 3." So that is a great reminder that we have an incentive for Stardew Valley. Adopt the pet, cat versus dog bid war. Currently, dog is winning. However, that $5 put cat a little bit closer to catching up. However, that's not the only incentive that we have open. We also have that Pump It Up incentive for an additional co-op set. And we have $50 that came in from Paul. Thank you so much. And this comment says, "Boston is cool, and so is this marathon." I agree. Nice job, runners and commentators. I'd like to put this to Pump It Up. So that additional $50 gets us just under halfway there to the $500 we need for Pump It Up. So we're at $225 out of $500. So that's math. $275 more dollars to get us there. So keep getting those donations in. I know we can do it. I know we can hit that. We just need to get that before the Pump It Up run that's coming up later tonight. So thanks everyone for those donations. And yeah, just remember to put Pump It Up in your donation comment if you want to put it towards that incentive.
Yeah. And this level's pretty straightforward, so I'm just doing some simple stuff. But you might not have noticed, which you probably wouldn't notice if you weren't looking for it, but I was trying to position my camera in such a way on that question mark planet that the moles will not be on the screen unless I want them to be, because they are very fast movers. If they are not where you are when you're not if they're where they are but you're not expecting it, can be kind of hard to try and maneuver your way to catch the moles. But thankfully we have pretty good moles there. Sometimes they can be very annoying.
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna be honest, this is one of the most intriguing levels for me, just because there's so much that goes into it that you wouldn't usually think, especially on that mole planet. Like, it looked so simple, but Platy did a good job keeping some moles off screen, keeping some moles on screen, so that she wouldn't have to go searching, because if you let one of them slip, you're gonna be searching for a pretty long time.
Oh, nice. Please sit there, thank you. So that's what we need to not do during the comet of this level. A comet is a daredevil, so I definitely don't want to get hit, so just making sure I get that out of the way. Checking where I need to be. Yeah, this mole has a little bit of RNG as to where it spawns. It's actually Major Burrow's big mole. Or is this? Yeah, it's a mole. Big mole boss. Terrorizing a bunny. Gotta come in and save the day. But yeah, this boss is kind of funny. You can kind of just long jump or ground pound there twice, make him pop out. What you're supposed to do is you're supposed to ground pound once, and then he goes back into the ground and comes after you, to which the player is supposed to be like, "Ah, that didn't happen the first time. I have been caught off guard." But what the developers didn't realize that if you just know that there's going to be 2 phases to that fight already, you can just ground pound twice. You're chilling.
Yeah, definitely. That boss is definitely, again, little things that go into it that save a little bit of time definitely add up.
Yeah, I was kind of trying to hover over over Major Burrow's helmet, because if you hover over it, he goes out a little bit quicker than trying to... Usually what happens is you're supposed to run away from him, and then eventually he'll kind of catch up to you and be pretty close, but that just takes longer. Which I might actually have to do that in the comet. If I get bad RNG as to where he pops up out of, sometimes the angles... Because again, the plane is kind of like a weird oval sphere pill type beat, something like that. So again, some of the jumps that you can get aren't exactly the height that you need, depending on where it is on the planet, and we obviously do not want to get hit when we only have 1 health.
Very true. I think that's a good thing to abide by, especially in those Daredevil comets. Small thing here. Yeah, again, more gravity skips. Just like I can't emphasize this enough. It's just there's so much little stuff that saves so much time, and it's just really cool. It's why Galaxy is my favorite speed game.
Yeah, there are just a bunch of little optimizations, like skipping that little planet with the Piranha plant, and getting the question mark coin after you hit the Piranha, so that we could just backflip into the vine since it's, already growing. Don't need to wait for it. This is one of the ones that I actually didn't think messed up the comet order, but I'm pretty sure it does. Maybe not in this route, but definitely in other routes. But we do Gusty Garden S and 3 back-to-back, so if you miss one of the question mark coins, you'd probably think, whatever, I'll just continue with the level and then I'll get Gusty Garden S afterwards. But I believe that actually does mess up the comet cycles, so need to make sure we get that first try.
Yeah, that's again one of those mistakes where it's like you learn the hard way.
Never make it again.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of mistakes in this game that once you make it once, you're like, well, that will certainly never happen. Hopefully.
So you mentioned a lot about the small optimizations in this game, and Hector just said something about this being their favorite speedrunning game. So why the movement in this particular Mario game over the movement in other Mario 3D platformers?
So it's actually kind of funny. Before I speedran this game, I speedran Super Mario Odyssey, which has one of the best movement sets in like any 3D Mario game. Any Mario game in general, honestly. I adore the movement in Odyssey. It's really, really cool. But this was a really nice break because since Odyssey is so movement intensive, it's like if you're having a bad movement day or like certain things are just working, you're missing your inputs, it can just be very, very tough on the mental. While this game is... Even though the movement is just very different, I mean, honestly, for me, I feel like nostalgia plays into it a lot, just because this has been my favorite game for years. I loved this game when I was a kid, so I was kind of just already used to the movement. If you've never played Galaxy before and you go into it, you might think it's pretty slow, but that's why the minor optimizations are really cool, because it adds that cool little movement tech to a game that has pretty limited movement, all things considered. Going for a little skip here. Thankfully I got it. Sometimes that skip can be a little weird, but you don't need to go here while it's activated. That's okay.
Yeah.
I prefer my planets without cannonballs.
Yeah, very, yeah, that was a really good question. I mean, I think you ask probably anyone and they'll say like, Sunshine Odyssey has the best movement, but the thing that just makes this game my favorite movement is that it's really easy for people to pick up. And I view that as a good thing because, more people running the game, more competition. Also, I play this game 2P, so I have a lot more movement options. And
2P brings some very, very cool movement into this game. I'll definitely say that. If you haven't checked out a 2P run of this game, definitely go check one out, because there's some things that you couldn't believe that 2P could do that before.
And so it's just one of those things where it's like, combine that with a game that is pretty much perfect in every other aspect. It's just, it's a recipe for like, like great speed. I'm a little biased.
And also, yeah, or I was gonna say real quick, also just the vibes of this game are so good. Like, if you're having a bad Galaxy day, who cares? Just listen to the music, chill. It's just like, at least for me specifically, it's very hard to be upset with this game and to get into a bad funk with this game, which is obviously a runner-by-runner experience, but again, I just love this game so much, it's really hard to be mad at it.
How could you ever be upset when you're playing as Luigi? Like,
True, also that.
And so, Thorin, you had mentioned that you're learning how to run this game, so what was it about it that made you want to learn how to play Galaxy after kind of already running some of the other Mario games?
So the biggest reason I plan on learning it is what we call the Multi Mario 602, which is basically a run through of Super Mario 64, Galaxy 1, Sunshine, and then Galaxy 2, all 100%ed in back to back to back. So that's kind of like a requirement of doing the 602. Is you have
one
to
of
learn.
the games.
Just one of the games. Yeah, I primarily run Sunshine's my favorite. I play that the most, and then I've also learned 64. Galaxy's next on the to-do list. But I'm looking forward to learning it because 64 and Sunshine could be pretty fast-paced. So like this has a lot more relaxation throughout the run. You're not too stressed. You have time to think about what star you're entering, what you have to do, and everything. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, also just another personal experience. Just as like a streamer, this is a fantastic stream game, especially going from Odyssey to where there are like barely any cutscenes. Just for chat interaction, all the cutscenes make it super, super easy to look over and glance at your chat. So that is definitely very nice. Or if you need to, like, I don't know, DM someone real quick during a cutscene. It's not like you have to go Sonic speed.
That sounds really chill.
Which makes it such a vibe, because again, like, if you have a bad level or whatever, you guaranteed have at least like 20-15 seconds of cutscenes in between when you need to, you know, focus on movement to kind of chill down, reprocess, you know, get into a better mindset. Although I can say that sometimes in this game, it's definitely hard to keep that momentum up, just because sometimes, when this game goes bad, sometimes it goes bad. But I mean, that's just part of any speed game, right?
Yeah, I mean, with Galaxy especially, it's just like I feel like completing a run is just very rewarding, even if it's not PB. Like completing a run is just like, yeah, I did that, and it being around 2.5 hours is a very good length. Or it's not too long, but it's also not really quick.
Yeah, as opposed to the 120 star category of this game, which is around 5 hours. The world record is... I'm gonna say it wrong. What's the world record?
507, I'm pretty sure.
507, yeah. So it's around 5 hours. For me, I have a, like, 6-ish hour time. It's, like, it's crazy, the amount of stuff that goes into learning a 120 run, because, you know, 120 stars, 120 missions, that's a lot.
A lot. And then especially in 120 you have to deal with the purple coin levels, which if you played this game casually, you remember those.
Although I personally started enjoying the purple coins more after I learned the route. Which that just makes sense in my brain, because you know where you're going, it's fast. The purple coin missions are always so slow, so just being able to do them as fast as possible is always a plus.
Yeah, I mean, purples are my favorite as well. Like, I love purples. Everyone thinks I'm crazy. I might be, but yeah.
Just a little bit. Thorin, are you excited to learn purples?
If it's similar, okay. So if it's similar, I think I am. I'm trying to tell myself I am, because when it comes to learning the 100 coin levels in both 64 and Sunshine, I always put those off as long as I can because I didn't like the levels. But then once I did learn them, it helped a lot knowing them. So I think that should be a priority, is to actually learn the routing for the purple coin levels, so that I know where I'm going and I don't have too slow of a time, or I don't spend too much time in those levels.
Yeah, I mean,
it's definitely, I would just giving advice to you here while, you know, while we're in call. What I did when I learned 120 was I started learning the purples. There's a category extension called All Purple Comet, and as, you know, as it is implied, it is all the purple comets. It's about like an hour, and that is one of the best ways to work out your movement for purples.
Good to know.
I was doing it all back to back like that.
I think for you, Thorin, if you like the 100 coin shines in Sunshine, you'll like the purple coin levels in Galaxy.
I do like the 100 coin shines.
You'll like them. You'll like them.
You know, because in 120, obviously in 90% we try to do the fastest levels possible, so in 120 I kind of have to do all the levels, clearly, and a lot of them are, or some of them are very slow, purple coins being usually one of the slowest stars, but that is where most of your time loss will most likely come from when you start learning 120, just because getting the route, you know, you have to most likely go throughout the entire level, so just getting that purple's movement in saves a lot. Just being, you know, well practiced with that.
Definitely.
You know, so here we're going to show off something kind of interesting, which you literally would not be able to tell unless I told you. So how I'm getting these star chips right here is what we call holding neutral, which doesn't really sound like it is because we're not really holding anything. We just let the stick go back into neutral position so that way Luigi doesn't move, so we can collect the star chips when they are available for us to collect, because as soon as you break that crystal, not quite available. Gotta wait a little bit, so makes that a little bit faster. But there are some tricks in this game, especially some triple jumps in 1P that you do need to hold neutral for. Makes you go a little bit higher, depending on tilt where you are, probably. I don't know. All that fun Galaxy weird tech.
Yeah.
You know, especially in that ice skating level, you actually do have to hold neutral when transferring from each like platform, going from each gravity space, because gravity in this game, again, sometimes kind of weird. If you are just holding straight the entire time and you do not hold neutral at all, the game will just be like, oh, so you want to go the opposite way? Because it's still, you know, kind of processing the gravity switch. So then you just fly off into a black hole, which of course nobody would love to see.
Yeah, gravity, you know, with great power comes great responsibility, I feel like, with gravity. And, like, you know, you use gravity for all these skips, but don't be surprised if gravity ends up being the thing that gets you killed.
Yep, and also something that I did just right there, which I forgot to mention real quick beforehand, was with the fire flower, your shake isn't really buffed. Well, it's kind of nerfed a little bit, your shake, just because you're throwing a fireball, but at least you still do get a shake, unlike the fire, or the ice flower. But what you can do, which is also a reason why I run with 2 Joy-Cons instead of Pro-Con, is that if you shake both of them at the same time, you'll get 3 little height boosts. After that, you don't get any more height, but if you shake both controllers at the same time, you will start getting a little bit of height gain with Luigi, which is how I was able to stay in the air and collect the star instantly. You know, I don't know if we really use that tech anywhere else in the run. We use it a little bit in this level, actually. I'll be going around a gate, and I'll use that, but only for a bit. Just to get on top.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, we were talking about earlier, freeze flame is like like people saying, and this is I think this is a community-wide opinion that freeze flame is the best Galaxy, and I'm just like, you guys like this level? Like, I feel like this level is just so, like, it's good, but it's not anything to write home about.
I enjoy it. Listen, this level has the best long jump in the game.
Ooh,
Are you telling me it's
true.
not good? We're about to do it. Yeah, nice little movement optimization, backflipping into the star, or into the fire flower, and then whee! All the way around the world.
You're right. My mind has been changed.
Oh, let's go. It's too easy. Yeah, trying to get some star bits there. Sometimes you can get a lot of star bits, which that actually blew my mind when I started to run this game. And personally, if you want to get into running this game, I definitely recommend literally just watching runs. Just watching runs, you'll pick up so many strats just by seeing them, and most of them are pretty easy to replicate. And if not, obviously the community is very, very welcome. You can ask pretty much anyone anything. But you know, just... Oh yeah, like I lost my train of thought talking about Galaxy. Yeah, so those urchins there, you can actually, while you're waiting for that sling star to spawn, you can hit them with your fire flowers to get some extra star bits, which can be very helpful. Which I don't always get, but it's a nice little boost when you do.
Yeah, recently some runner, kind of a weird guy, you know, really strange. He made like a beginner tutorial for some people to get started in the game, and so, you know, there's never been a good time to start running Galaxy other than now.
Bro, would you like to shout them out?
Yeah, it's just like this runner. He's kind of inactive. His name is hexspeedruns. He doesn't do much Galaxy.
Sounds like a pretty cool dude.
But, yeah, I am gonna keep this self-promoting to a minimum, but it's just a run where not many skips are done. It's just used as an example for runners to dip their toe in the pool.
You know, I would definitely say that there's no better time to get into Galaxy than now. There's, I believe that Source 28 and JCar are also creating beginner's guides. So that is also very helpful. Flygon Man has had a 120 guide up on YouTube for like years. So if you literally, that's just every star in the game. The observatory movement is a little different. The places where you get star bits is different. But if you want to learn any percent, that's also a good video to look at. But But yeah, no, there's just, this community's been popping recently, and it's been super cool to see Galaxy getting, you know, time in the limelight like it deserves. I love this game so much.
The Galaxy Uprising.
Yeah. Here's one of the most, like, movement crazy levels, because this level is literally all just climbing. We are climbing up this mountain to get the secret star, and there's some neat jumps. This level is one of the ones that I do like to practice a lot, just because when you get a clean level in a run, especially this one, oh, it's so nice.
This level's, when people say they like this level, and that's why I like Free Frame, I can give them a pass because this level is really cool. Like, this is even 1P, it's one of the coolest movement levels in the game, especially if you've done it casually, because you're intended to go all the way around. But if, you know, anyone can see Platy is not going all the way around.
Almost fell off just for funsies there. Yeah, no, next we have actually, one of the most infamous levels in Galaxy, especially for 3D All-Stars. There's not really a problem in it for Wii, but I was warming this up right before the run, because I actually just remembered that it is a little bit weird. But next is Honey Climb, which is all B, all the B power-up, so you may think, oh, B power-up, that's slow. Fun fact, there is literally only one way to be fast as a bee, and it is up. That is the only way you can be fast as a bee. You can get a lot of vertical height, so Hex, if you would like to take that away and explain it a little bit better than I could, go for it.
Sure. So Luigi's been doing an internship at NASA, and so he's figured out how to rapidly take off like a rocket using this bee power up. The only caveat is that you have to be not angle precise, but if you're any slight bit off directly up, you kind of go off to the side, and that's the one thing. But it really, like, instead of having to climb up the wall, you can just zoom all the way up. And I think Platy's gonna show something called a bug boost at the end. I think she's gonna go for it, where if you spin off a bug once you do it, you get even more height, which I'm gonna be honest, I'm not even really sure how that works, but it works, and we're gonna have a great time seeing it.
Yep, so this is also one of those tricks that if you play around with it enough at home, you can figure out too, but just like Hex said, be straight on a honeycomb, jump, shake, hold neutral, and ooh, a little bit of a weird angle, but nice.
That was pretty good, yeah. That was
if you mess up that
good.
jump there, that can be very annoying to back up, because those platforms are moving, and trying to land on moving platforms is not always the most fun. Make it. Oh no!
No, you're good. You're good.
Slightly too low. We're chilling though.
Nah, that was still very close.
Yeah, you saved
very,
it. You
very
saved
good.
It. Good back.
Let's go.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that's you know, it's not new, but it's like this was discovered 2018, 2019. So compared to a lot of other stuff, this is definitely relatively new.
Yep, and now we're going to actually one of the coolest movement levels in this game. So, again, I love the Bowser levels. I think that the Bowser levels have really neat movement that I love showing off. And this level plays with gravity a lot, so there's a lot of cool gravity skips and stuff. I don't know if you want to explain plus skip, how that works. It's pretty much just momentum, but...
Basically, what you're going to see in these levels is arrows are going to control the gravity field, and, you know, something you've seen all run is that we can manipulate gravity into our favor. And we're going to skip a pretty decent chunk, 20-25 second auto-scroller, because Platy's going to long jump off the edge of this plus-shaped platform and use the gravity to make it all the way to the end. And it looks really, really cool. And it's just a testament to how cool Galaxy's movement can be, because this level is what you call a movement masterpiece.
Yeah, I would agree. 100%. Yeah, we're gonna sneak past these little death squares here. Don't have to worry about them. If you do touch them, you just vanish instantly. You disintegrate? That's the word I think I want.
Just die.
Yeah. So sometimes if you're a little bit off, you might accidentally touch it, and that always sucks when it happens, but not today.
So coming up here on plus skip. Very, very.
There we go.
Yeah, funny
That's always a
thing.
little scary.
Funny thing is that 1-up that Platy grabbed was the first 1-up of the run, actually. And
Wow,
it's
we
like
got a 1-up. What's
2
up?
hours into the run. And
Yeah.
every time you grab a 1-up for the first time, you get a text box. So it's always funny that we get the text box here. That was really clean. It was really, really good.
You know, you mean there are spots that you can get 1-ups before this, but this is kind of the only 1-up that is directly in our way that we literally just have to get. So might as well save the text box for, you know, the level that we need it. Just little things like that, because if you do get it before, you'll just lose time, because, well, in another level, it's kind of like pseudo time loss.
Yeah.
Because you lose it in the level that you get it, but you'll save it in the level that you didn't. Which is annoying for golds, too, because I've had some pretty good Bowser 2s where I got the 1-up beforehand, so it doesn't have the text in it, so I feel like it's not a real gold, so I just have to skip the split. So here we're doing spin cancels, which speeds up the Bowser fight, if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, so basically, 2 things is what Platy's doing is on the beginning of every phase, Bowser decides to do his little spinny spin, his platic spin, and platicorn subs post platic spin in chat. But
Hey.
basically what Bowser does is spits fireballs, but if we spin into his tail, it cancels that out. And then what he does is he tries to punch us because he gets mad we interrupted his spin. And what Platy did there is spinning into Bowser, then jumping so that it resets the spin, because if you stayed on the ground, there's like a spin cooldown, and so Platy can use those spins to cancel out all the punches. It goes 1, 2, 3 according to the phases, and speeds up the Bowser fight a lot.
No.
That was really good Bowser 2. It's really one of the hard levels, so awesome to see that.
That fight went really well. Bowser 2 is always one of those scary levels where it's like, man, this is one of the levels where if you make a mistake, it's probably going to cost you a decent amount, just given where the mistakes usually are.
Like, even the smallest mistakes, messing up any aspect of the boss fight can cost you like 10 seconds a piece.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, well, we have another Grand Star cutscene. Give it away to the host. Anything.
Anything at all, please.
Yeah.
We've got a ton of spins in chat, first off. Thank you, everyone, for your spins in chat. We had a $20 donation come in from an anonymous donor, but they sent in no comment, but we really appreciate your donation. So thank you so much. That $20, even though there's no comment and it isn't going towards an incentive, does get us closer to our overall $4,000 goal for the end of the night. So thank you so much for donating. And speaking of incentives, you know what's coming. I'm going to talk about rhythm games again, and I'm going to talk about Pump It Up. Zelo's got an incredible showcase coming up later tonight, and it could be even more incredible if you donate and get us to that $500 goal to get some bonus co-op songs in that Zelo will be doing with their partner Haru. It'll be incredible. Co-op on Pump It Up is so fun to watch and so impressive to see. And we just need $275 more to get that to happen. So please get your donations in, ! Donate to get that link. And make sure you put where you would like your donation to go in your donation comment so we can put it towards that Pump It Up incentive.
Yeah, right there, try to see me go for the double Luma bounce. Unfortunately, my angle was a little bit off, so kind of rubbed the library there for a bit. Didn't get it, but that's alright. Doesn't lose too much. But yeah, you also saw there that I grabbed the Pole Star right away, which there's only 2 domes, I believe, that you can do that in. Terrace and Engine. I believe literally just the way the domes are designed, the Pole Star is just in view before you can even see it, so you can just grab that right away for a little bit of a time save. Yeah, here we are going to be doing Gold Leaf 1, which there are 2 different routes that you can do. There's clockwise and counterclockwise. I'm going to be doing the easier one, which is counterclockwise, I believe. But
Yeah,
you want to explain the
counterclockwise.
differences between them?
So clockwise, we'll preface this with the fact that clockwise only saves around 1 second.
Yeah.
So, and you have to do a jump, I don't know exactly the wording for this, but you have to do a double wall jump over a gap. So, and there's a high chance that you get a glitchy wall jump, which essentially kills you on the spot. All for a 1 second time save. This is obviously a lot more comfy, a lot safer, and, you know, even though it loses 1 second, it still looks pretty cool.
Yeah, no impending doom needed. And right here we're going to do a little bit of minor optimization. We're going to go into first person so we can see these pull stars faster. You can just go right up there. Don't need to take it individually. And yeah, upcoming is a neat little strat with the bunny. If you want to talk about that.
Yeah, so what's funny is you can actually mind control the bunny. So we're supposed to chase him around, but we mind control the bunny to just come near us.
Yep.
Essentially,
Very
what
easy.
happened there is you stand in a certain spot and it just manipulates the AI. I'm not sure the inner workings of it, but that's essentially the gist of it.
Yeah. Something insane. Okay, so that literally the rawest strat I've ever seen in any speed game was when I saw yesterday Tibbs, Tibbs, who is a world record holder in this game, very, very awesome speedrunner. I was watching them do this level last night, and they used 2P. So you can use 2P to shake around the little green things, and what they did was shook the green thing into the bunny, so it gets hit, like, into you. It was the craziest thing I saw in my life. I was like, that's insane.
Yeah, that strat is raw. That is a raw strat.
Any strat where you can just cheese the bunny, it's just immediately so good, because if you miss that bunny or if you mess up that strat, you have to go and chase it around the entire planet, and if you run out of star bits, you might have to activate the walls that you're intended to use, and it's just so slow.
Yeah, no, it's always interesting seeing the variants of strats that runners can use.
Yeah, for sure. Also, the hitbox of that vine is insane. Never have I ever once actually touched that vine to activate it.
This is a fun level right here. Gold Leaf 2.
Yeah, this level has a lot of funky jumps. Okay, this jump right here, I have a little setup for it. I go next to that box, reset my camera. And then you want to triple jump right on that hedge there to get into the gravity of this M, which is definitely a lot harder than that looks. That took me a while to get consistent at, which I am very happy that I'm consistent at it now, because that used to be, like, the worst part of runs, especially since it was so far into the run.
Yeah, definitely.
Gold Leaf can be just a very tough stage, depending on what strats you put into it.
However, it is the best stage.
Sure. Gonna get a little triple jump to get into that B. I don't even remember how you're supposed to get that. And we're gonna do a little, so, I'm pretty sure it's the same mechanic, just like we did in Honey Climb. If you fall off that and shake at a certain time, you can just gain a bunch of vertical height, fly right up to that flower.
Yeah, I'm not exactly too sure, like, the science behind it, but that's essentially the principle.
It's definitely not intended.
Definitely
Yeah, no.
not.
You know, it's really funny. There's a lot of strats in this game, again, as every speedrun, where I just completely forget the normal route. Because sometimes we skip so much stuff, especially in later levels, like in Garden, there's Dreadnought, which you can skip a lot of that level, especially in the first stage. That one's always cool to do. I think that it's one of my favorite Garden levels, even though I really hate Dreadnought. I really hate Dreadnought as a stage, but Dreadnought 1, it's different.
That Dreadnought 1, I know you're gonna disagree. Dreadnought 2. Dreadnought 2 hits so different.
Isn't that the one with the gravity skip and the platforms? Bro, I hate that one.
No,
definitely not just because okay, just because I'm really inconsistent with that skip, definitely that's not the reason why.
Also, nice thing there, Plati just skipped around 40 seconds there.
Oh, yeah.
What you're intended to do, and I don't think a lot of people actually know what the intended strat is you're supposed to grab a bee mushroom and then jump on the clouds.
Oh, interesting.
And
some spin bonks here. All good.
that triple jump on the tree saves like so much time. And it's actually not that bad, but it can definitely, you can get what Plati just mentioned, what's called a spin bonk, where sometimes if you're expecting a ledge grab on a ledge, but you're just too high, you'll just bonk and fall.
I always make sure that my Joy-Con is visible, because sometimes you will get spin drops in this game. The Joy-Con just doesn't register your spin, and you need a spin at a certain timing, pretty much as soon as you get off that vine to skip the cutscene. And we're actually going to cheese this mole. As you can see, he's not moving. That's on purpose. We skip the cutscene to activate the boss, so the boss itself is just not activated. But I always show it on screen, because sometimes, I swear, I shake this controller the speed of light, and it just does not register. Which maybe is the problem. But Yeah, not a bad Gold Leaf 3. There's a lot of things that can go wrong in Gold Leaf 3, so... Not too bad. All things
That was
considered.
very clean level, I'd say.
I had some issues with getting up to the actual boss fight, but that's okay. Sometimes it happens.
It happens.
And I have another one of my favorite short levels in the game. This actually might be the shortest level, or the shortest split in the game. But this split is super fun to do, super fast, and we're gonna try and show it off. So there's music notes in this tree and a bubble. Usually you try to go somewhat slow, you know, make sure you get all that stuff, but with practice you can kind of zoom. We're gonna see if I get that here. Controlling this bubble can be very strange, especially when you want to go fast.
Yeah, the hitbox is actually not the bubble, it's Luigi in the bubble. So if
Let's
you
go.
hit the bubble on a note, but it's a part that Luigi isn't in,
Mhm.
you'll miss the note entirely.
Yup. Yeah, no, that was really good. Happy with that one. I always love when I go fast. You know, sometimes you'll be going fast and then you'll miss one and you have to go back for it and it's like, ugh. Gold Leaf L is a bit faster. There is no Gold Leaf L.
I think Good Egg L.
Or Good Egg Egg.
Yeah, I'd say Good Egg L.
Yeah, Good Egg L. Actually, you're right. That one is 50 seconds in the split. That is the shortest. That is 55 seconds. At least my gold is 55 seconds. And then this one that I just did was about 1 minute and 6 seconds. So that's one probably the second shortest. And now this one, oh, this level. So this level is definitely the hardest Cosmic Luigi race, I would say, because of the trick that we do in it. There's two setups for it. You can either go into it with a triple jump, or you can do the backflip setup that we did in Gold Leaf 3. However, the camera's different, so doing that setup is kind of hard. So I try to do the triple jump, but backing up the triple jump is also very annoying. So hopefully we'll just get it first try here. Okay, definitely not. Did not have enough height for that, so we'll go for the back up. And we get that.
There we go.
Look at that.
Yeah, so for the triple jump, you want to do two things. One, get as much height as you can. Make sure you're holding that A button and you spin at the peak so you can get the highest possible place on the tree that you can wall jump off of to make it on that platform. But two, you want to not spin bonk as well. And spin bonking is something that is very easy in this game. So if you spin bonk, you're just not getting the height that you need to get all the way up there. And thankfully the backup worked well. Sometimes the backup is really weird. Especially for me, I try to replicate the conditions in Gold Leaf 3, which is getting that camera in a certain spot, but if you move the camera actually beforehand, you just will not be able to get that camera ever again, so I always make sure that I wait to line myself up to the mushroom like I do in Gold Leaf 3, and then switch my camera, because that's usually pretty consistent.
Yeah, definitely, like, it's not one of the hardest things, but if you fail it, it's also stressful, because you have to deal with the cosmic clone, and if you miss it once or twice, you're like, bro!
It's very demoralizing to see Cosmic Luigi get that star. It's like, aw, man. Press the A button. Oh. So now we have Sea Slide, which is basically auto-scroller. This level is anyways, so nothing too special. We go around collecting these orcas 8 rings. Don't know why we're doing it, but you know what, we're doing it.
We're doing it because he challenged us, and we can't take that.
So if there's any more messages you would like to read out, feel free.
Yeah, well, we actually had a raid kind of come in a little while ago, so welcome everyone. So I figured, again, since it's been about an hour since I've said this last time, as a reminder of why we're all here and what we're doing here and what we're raising money for. This is Blackheart's Boston Fund. So this is a mutual aid fundraiser organized to help out a wonderful friend of Frame Fatales, Stardew Valley, and the overall speedrunning community, Blackheart Wings, also known as Gabby. She's currently going through some life changes and is crowdsourcing funds in order to afford a move to Boston and make sure that she can afford things like travel, housing, and other basic necessities. So this entire event is us all coming together to help raise funds for her and so that we can help change her life and make sure that she can move safely. So thank you so much to everyone who is here. Welcome Raiders, and also continual welcome to everyone who's been here since the start of the run, since the start of the marathon, at any point today. Thanks so much for being here. We wouldn't be able to do this without all of you hanging out, watching the stream, and donating. So Thanks again, everyone.
Yeah.
Starget.
Starget.
Target.
Starget is so funny. I still don't. It's very interesting to me how a lot of games, especially in like Japanese or Korean, they'll have just English words.
Yeah.
It's always funny to see. But yeah, next we have finally the first showcase of surface swimming in this round, which surface swimming is a neat little trick, which I'm gonna pass that to you again, because you'll probably explain it better than me.
Yeah, so basically the way it works is, you know, as you saw in when we were swimming underwater in Sea Slide 1, it's fast, but it's not the fastest. It's pretty slow and you have to really shake constantly. Fortunately, you can do something called surface swimming where once you surface up, basically the game does something where it tries to make it so that Luigi stays kind of doing a breaststroke at the surface. But if you shake within 7 frames that you surface, you'll actually continue doing the underwater motion while on the surface. So it looks like you continuously refresh and it makes you go a lot faster, as you can see right here.
Try.
Ooh.
You know, so
Yeah,
that
very,
setup that
very
I
good.
did, there's a couple different setups to activate Surface Swim. The one that I do, usually you get it within 3 tries, and if not, you're probably doing something wrong. But that time I got it first try, which is always super nice to see.
That was very, very clean.
It's gonna be a
very
gold.
good. Yeah, definitely.
It was actually.
Yup.
It was.
That looked really
Let's
good.
go.
Drake's in chat.
no.
That was good.
So like I said earlier, one of the differences between 3D All-Stars version of this game and Wii version of this game is that for some reason they lowered the water level. So I did have the possibility to touch that gate that I swam over, but again, it's pretty much like RNG on whether you actually touch the gate or not. But if you do touch the gate, I don't know if I discovered this, definitely not, but I came up with this at least on my own without referencing anyone, and that made me happy. But you can actually just hold your ZL button there, so that way if you do get caught on it, if you have quick reaction time, you can just quick press A right away and make sure that you long jump. So it pretty much doesn't save any time, but if you don't react quick enough, sometimes it'll throw you off and you'll just lose a little. Yeah, now time for the harder guessing game of this run, because a lot of things can go wrong in this level, so I like to give a big range, so it's always fun when someone gets it. But real quick, type your guesses in the chat. Do not end it with a 2, 4, 7, or 9 because of how frame interpolation works in this game. If you get it exactly right, we will do whatever we said before, probably.
Yeah, I'll donate
Yep.
30.
Donate more!
I'll
which,
match
you know,
that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just because this one's so hard. So if you guess the time correctly, I'll donate $30. Thorn will donate $30.
Anywhere in the
as well.
50s. I realized I didn't give a range. Anywhere in the 50s for this one.
I'm gonna go with around 50, 53.
Okay.
Again, times cannot end in 2, 4, 7, or 9.
Yeah, this one's very annoying because controlling the
Wait, what did
surface
you say?
swim is super weird sometimes.
I said 50, 53.
Ooh,
Alright.
like that. The angle at which you get the surface swim is very important because sometimes, again, it's a little hard to control, so you can just launch yourself into a wall like I did. Thankfully missed the island there. I thought I was going to bump into it. Any 56, 96 in chat.
56,
Unfortunately,
96.
I don't think so.
No.
We've got no 56s in chat. We had a couple of 55s, couple of 50. We had a 57, a 5783. I think was the closest one.
Ah, unfortunate. All good. You know, that one's just literally the hardest one to guess, because, again, like I just did, the surface swim is a little weird, so we lost a little bit of time to that, so I just say, 50s is probably good. I think I've gotten 1 sub 50 ever. I've only gotten 149. Done with Sea Slide now, finally. Going on to Toy Time, which can definitely be one of the hardest levels in the run. There's just a lot of, again, things that can go wrong, a lot of movement that you want to do. A lot of weird things can also happen in this level too, that you just don't expect because of how the level's laid out with the gravity and with some enemies as well. We like to make fun of our friend Silo for dying to one of the mobile sentry beams, which is not mobile, by the way, it just turns around. You'll see him in the upcoming section there, but yeah, again, just a lot of weird deaths that can happen that are kind of funny. Yeah, unfortunately, FPJ is actually probably the most important in this level out of a lot of them, or at least one of the most important. because as you can see, I went to the right train, but it is actually faster to go on the left train if you get that frame perfect jump, which is, you know, sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. So I had to go on the right train today. Also, yeah, this is the mobile sentry beam. Little dude is just there trying to be a menace. It's alright though. You can just long jump over this little gap.
Yep.
And skedaddle. Yeah, something that you'll also notice too is that we do not use the spring at all in this category. Spring is slow, we do not like the spring, so even though this level is very, very much designed for it, you just don't need it. Just triple jump around.
Also, the spring is the worst power-up in any Mario game. It's very,
Oh,
very
100%. I have some people in my chat trying to tell me that it's good, and I feel like it has to be a bit. I feel like there's no way that people genuinely think it's the best power-up.
Gotta be a slash ban from me.
Yeah, no, you can just climb on this jar. Like that.
Watching you play this level, I'm realizing that I haven't played Galaxy in many, many years, and I'm reliving some sort of trauma watching this level. Maybe it has to do with the spring power-up, but I don't know what it was. The second you entered this, I was like, ooh, I had some trouble here. Like, something happened here that's making me nervous. I don't know what it was.
So this right here,
right now. Oh yeah, go for
right
it.
here is armpit skip. It's called armpit skip because you wall jump up the armpit, but it actually saves like a lot of time. Like doing this, I intended as a loose term because even if you do it intended, there are some mini shortcuts you can take, but you're saving about a minute with that skip. And Platy did the harder version. There's an easier version you can do, but Platy did the harder version right there, which is very, very solid.
Yep. You know, you're supposed to like climb all the way throughout the robot. You're supposed to unscrew him, dismantle him from the inside. I don't know, something like that, but just climb up him. I'll say one of my mods in chat is saying I like the spring, but he never said it was good. Listen, you're still a spring defender. It's just as bad.
How can you like the spring?
I want to give a quick shout out to hexspeedruns on the commentary right now who donated $20.
Hey!
There was no comment on it, but they had elaborated in chat to put it towards that pump it up incentive. So we are now over halfway there, about halfway there. We are halfway there,
let's go.
Just under halfway there to getting to that $500 we need. So thanks, Hex.
Yeah, no problem. Got to slide a little consolation prize, even if nobody gets the time correct.
Yes, I will still be donating for that incentive after the round.
So yeah, we're finishing up in the last part of Toy Time. I think the only ones that are left are Toy Time Secret, Toy Time Combat, and Toy Time 2. And then done with Engine Room, I think, which is crazy. The run's almost over.
No! Sad! No! Let's stay here forever. Let me get the soft lock in this level. We can stay.
I think a while back someone had put in chat something about make it a relay, run Galaxy 2 immediately after. If we we could meet that incentive, right? That's a thing we could do.
Oh yeah, let me just, quick learn it.
Yeah.
I got you. That is definitely one of the games I want to learn. For a while I considered Galaxy and Galaxy 2 to be kind of on the same wavelength for how much I like the Galaxy games. I was like, they're basically the same thing, I'll rank them together. But after speedrunning this game, I just have a whole new appreciation for Galaxy 1. And Galaxy 2, honestly. I haven't really ran Galaxy 2, but I've watched a lot of speedruns of it, and there's just a lot of cool things in that game. A lot more flashy stuff, for sure. Ow. Those little spike friends are a little annoying.
Yes, Platy said earlier, it's possible to soft luck in this level, but we will not be seeing that, and I am manifesting that we will not be seeing a soft lock.
So yeah, these platforms here, they move, as you can tell, but if you get damaged in like the corner, right there, yeah, you could just get stuck there forever. Little cheeky soft log. Nothing we gotta worry about though. Yep. And then as is was Beach Bowl 3 into Beach Bowl C. Toy Time S into Toy Time C. We do the same level twice in a row. Cause fun, except it's fast now. I believe... Is there only 3 fast-fill comets in this game? Or is there only 2?
There are. Let me see.
I feel like there's gotta be 3.
It's
But there's not that many, just because there's really not a lot of opportunities for it, which makes sense, but...
There's one in Beach Bowl. There's one in Engine Room. There has to be more. I feel like there's one that I'm missing.
That's what I'm saying, I feel like there might be 3, but honestly there might only be 2, because
There
again...
might only be 2.
The conditions in which this star, like, would make a good comet is very low. I mean, it's already not really a good comet. I've never been a big fan of the fast fill comets anyway.
I'm the same way.
Yeah, as you can see, they're going fast. In Beach Bowl C, the enemies going fast wasn't really that much of a problem. However, in this level, it definitely is. Sometimes it's nice because the cycles, oh my goodness, go by faster. However, as you can see, they are right on your tail all the time, so...
Oh my goodness. I didn't take a breather after that one. Oh my god.
Listen, I promised at least one heart attack in this run.
True.
If I haven't given already. Thankfully, box boxes weren't much of a problem today. I'll just jump over this platform and wait. And we're done. And nice. I always love that angle.
Yeah.
Get right into the star.
Even though it was scary and gave us a heart attack, it was still very, very solid.
Oh! That was another gold! Wow! 3
Let's
gold
go.
this run!
Wow.
Yo, maybe what we'll do is I'll donate $5 for every gold I get. Who wants to match me? I got 3 gold so far. 15.
I'd match that.
Thorn,
Let's
you
go.
got that. You got that.
All right, I'll match it.
And
Speaking of
feel like I've been
$5,
cooking.
I apologize.
Ooh, $5 train.
Really
you're good.
incredible segue here. But we had a $5 donation come in from Abby that just says, sending Gabby all the love.
Let's go.
Huge.
All the love, 100%. Yeah, not too many levels left to gold yet, but I feel like I have been cooking a buoy base gold for a bit, so maybe we'll bring that out today.
That would be cool.
Gonna do a little triple jump here, kind of on the edge of that. Didn't quite get it. This triple jump's kind of weird, especially with the lasers and everything. But I like to do it, so we're gonna do it. Oh, it just doesn't like me today. You know, let's go around.
Yeah. It's all
But you
good.
can do a triple jump to skip all this section and go right to the star here, because again, gravity is sometimes weird, sometimes big. You can just do things, but...
Yeah, typically the bigger the platform, the bigger the gravity field it has, with some exceptions. So usually if you see a big platform that you want to go to, but you're not close enough, you can just do a triple jump and it's probably going to hit the gravity field. Ooh, nice enemy bounce there.
Yeah, thank you. I like getting that. I'm telling you, enemy bounces, or just like NPC bounces in general, my favorite strats in the game. They're so fun to me, especially with backwards momentum. I don't think we talked about backwards momentum a lot yet, but that is one of the main things that allows some tricks to happen in this run, and for movement options and stuff like that. When you see Luigi fall forward, he's got a little bit of momentum there, not too much, but if Luigi falls while going backwards, goes back facing the direction that you're going, you will get a lot of speed. It'll build up speed, and you'll just go farther as well. So we use a lot of backwards momentum at a lot of places in this game, like the Honey Hive 1 Comet with the Shadow Luigi, where we jump off the fence. Backwards momentum is to thank for that trick being possible. And same with Space Junk 1. You want to make sure, the reason why you want Luigi to be facing in a certain direction is that you want his back to be facing the way that the Polestar planet is, so that way you can actually get there.
Yep. I think that's it for Engine Room. Yeah, it was really good.
See ya, engine.
Take a little detour back to Kitchen, grab some loose stars there, and then one more star in Terrace, and then we'll be done. Well, with Bowser 3, of course.
Yes.
Can I hop in with a quick donation?
Of course.
We had a donation come in from Thorn. Thank you, Thorn.
Let's go.
For $25 that just says, pump it up, showcase. And so that
Hey.
brings us more than halfway to getting the Pump It Up Showcase. We are $270 out of 500. Keep getting those donations in.
Let's go.
Put Pump It Up Showcase in your comments. We know to put it towards the incentive, but we just need $230 more, and we'll see some of that co-op.
Yup. I'm excited. I'm very excited for that. I always love rhythm game showcases. Yeah, here we have Buoy Base 1, which is definitely one of the cooler movement levels in this game, I would say, especially climbing up that tower. You have some couple movement options, how to get up there fast. Sometimes you gotta react depending on what enemy is where, and when you actually get up there and stuff like that. Here is also kind of interesting, so obviously we want to be fast, we want to start swimming away from this thing. Ooh, as soon as possible, but like that just happened there. I started swimming away a little bit too early, and you want to make sure that is on camera, because again, if it's not on camera in this game, it doesn't exist, so you want to start swimming away, but not too early, so that you can still see that up there. Thankfully, it wasn't too bad. It was pretty easy to see it again, but if I was like halfway, you know, swimming up and it didn't work, oh, that would have been sad. Also, this level, just like Freeze Flame, has one of my favorite enemies in the game, which we just saw there, called a Bomp. I absolutely adore Bomps.
Bomb.
They're part of the Womp and Thwomp series, and just the fact that it's called a Bomp, ugh, it makes my heart happy. Alright, we're gonna let spin bonks there. Very rude and unnecessary.
Yeah, how could the game do that? So actually, there's a skip you can do here. Usually you have to collect all the star chips to get pool stars, but if you get a double boost, which is a strange, weird thing that happens, where if you spin as soon as you hit that platform, you get like this bigger boost, and it's just enough with a nunchuck spin. This is one of those Luigi only skips. It's just enough to make it into the gravity field of the final planet, so it saves about 25 to 30 seconds.
Yep. Very happy to get that first try, because oftentimes you want to make sure that you're in the center of that green spring thingy enemy, and if you're not, it makes the trick a lot harder, so it's just really easy to set up being in the middle first try, as opposed to trying to adjust when you're in the air, flying around like a torpedo. Or a propeller? Yeah, propeller's the word I want to say. Yeah, 2 Buoy Base stars, both pretty fast and kind of nice to have at the end of the level.
I think when we were talking about favorite levels, I think I forgot to mention, Buoy Base is one of, if not my favorite stars. It's such a fun level.
I think I personally like the music of Buoy Base better than the levels themselves, but I mean, like I said, the levels movement can be very fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna try and skip all of that section over there, past the bullet bills, and just bring one over. That's all you need. Right to the star. Yep, so after this is going to be my least favorite run in the, or least favorite level in the game. Like I was saying before, Drip Drop, while the music is very calm, it is in fact quite deceiving. The level is just stress in a ball. It can be very, very annoying to manipulate these eels, but if Hex wants to do a quick rundown on how the eels and all that works again.
Yeah.
Stage.
So, at entering the stage, basically, like I said before, if it's not on camera, it doesn't exist. These eels are going to be on a set path. They're in the same spot every time, so at least it's not RNG. But, with the eels, we're going to want to beat them in a specific order, and we're going to beat them in a way that keeps certain ones on camera and off camera. And if it's like one thing, if something goes wrong, everything goes wrong. Because you got to hunt around for the eels, and you're going to lose a bunch of time if you mess it up. But I have faith in Platty. I think she'll do great.
I hope. Listen, it's not up to me. It's up to the eels.
True.
Yeah, okay. It really sucks that I don't like this level because this is one of my favorite planet designs. I just love planets that are water orbs. Those are always just fun, but of course the eels have to come out. So I let that eel to the right of me kind of move a little bit more than I wanted to. Same with this one here, but it's okay. Oh, never mind. Chill did not miss. Please spawn.
Yeah, for some reason,
Where?
the shells take forever to respawn sometimes, and it's like, why?
Oh, they're both down there actually, which is kind of convenient for me.
Yeah, we're gonna.
If I snipe one? Bro, if I sniped one, that would have been crazy. Alright, Alright, we're gonna have to go back around. Find this
You
one
know what?
again,
All
right
things
where I was
considered, all things considered,
Could've been
could've
worse.
Yeah, all things considered, could have been worse.
You know, which is A-okay. End up right into the star. That's honestly probably one of the best ways to mess up that level is to get the eel back around the star. Sometimes you can just, I mean, if you don't know, if the order messes up, obviously you're just going to be stranded in that planet trying to find the star as quick as you can, and sometimes you're just disoriented, you don't know where the ship is, all of a sudden your air level is low, you gotta find a coin or a bubble so you don't die, have to do the whole thing over again.
Mm-hmm.
So, I just take getting the star in that level as a W.
Here it is. The last level.
Nope.
Before Bowser.
For Bowser. Yep. This is the 60th star that we are going to get, which will unlock Bowser 3. Just want to get 61 stars in the round. Yeah, this level, also very short. Just a Luigi level. Gonna go save our little bro. Using our hill skip that we used in the beginning. Oh my goodness! I almost didn't get the spin. I would have fallen all the way back down. That would have been very sad. He's stuck on the tree. Scared of the bug.
Silly boy.
No worries. We save him. Yeah, until the next star, we actually have about a, 2-minute cutscene before we get into any gameplay, so any last messages, donations, whatever, get them in.
Yeah, we've got $10 here from Tostada Cat. That says,
Tostada!
"Good luck in Boston. May end up there if I receive my when I receive my fellowship position. Put it to the Pump It Up showcase." So that means we are at $220 left to meet the Pump It Up co-op showcase. We're getting closer. Keep those
Let's
donations
go.
coming.
And I hear Rosalina's just like, "You ready? We're gonna go save the universe!" Well, we're not gonna save the universe, we're gonna save our loved one. We actually don't care about the universe.
Yeah, we have our priorities.
Yeah, but by saving the universe, or by saving our loved one, we pretty much save the universe, so it works out. I thought this cutscene went crazy when I was a kid. Seeing this ship turn into like an actual ship, that went crazy.
Is it the egg ship?
The egg ship into the center of the universe, which looks pink. So I love how we just casually destroy all these ships along the way. Seal.
Yep. I mean, honestly, this run's been really, really good so far, which is really cool. You know, I think you've done a great job showcasing all that Galaxy has to offer.
You know, given how I was at the beginning of this week to now is
Mm-hmm.
kind of stupid. Again, just one of the best ways to get consistent at this game is literally just to keep playing it. At least for me, anyway. My BPT right now is a 230, and my PB is a 229. So playing a minute off PB in a marathon run, that's kind of neat. You know, Bowser 3, again, another Bowser level, has a lot of cool movement. You'll see a lot of mini skips to skip most of these planets, so hopefully I can show it off my best.
Yeah, you can make an earlier cycle at this beginning of this planet. It saves a decent amount of time, but most importantly, it looks really cool.
It does. I don't think I'll be getting it though. I had a little bit of just classic movement errors. Instead, you can see that weird looking fireball animation.
Yeah, that was something.
That also happens. But yeah, so there's a faster version of this where if you get here in enough time, it's super hard in 1P because literally you just have to go as fast as you can. There's no way to back it up. But you can use these spotlights to get up pretty fast. For some reason, once you leave the spotlight and you jump at a certain time, it'll give you a little bit of momentum boost, so you can get up there. That is a-okay. You do not need it. Also, I'm kind of just collecting star bits here for fun. In 120, you definitely want to collect star bits here, so it's better to just keep the muscle memory of collecting them.
Yeah, you don't lose anything because the run ends on the Grand Star Touch. Like, it's just for fun.
Yeah, there's a lot of funny numbers you can have. A lot of people like doing the classic funny. Personally, I like having 101 star bits because it looks like lol. That's where I like to have my star bit counter.
Lol. I think for a while it was 47. That was the new
It was.
number.
So going through Cave here, a bunch of different strats you can do. Cave is definitely one of the scariest parts of the run. It's right at the end, and if you die anywhere in Cave, you're losing probably at least a minute, or 40 seconds, because there is no checkpoint. Now we're gonna damage boost through that bullet bill real quick, but there is no checkpoint in Cave, so you have to go all the way back to the section prior, which can be very, very sad right at the end of the run, but it's okay, because we got past it. Let's go. There's like insane strats that you can do there where the camera gets all funky and you're like 50 feet away from the camera for some reason. It just doesn't get into you. Or get back looking at you.
And we're gonna see a very, I'm gonna be honest, we're gonna see a very slept on piece of movement is the stairs. These stairs are so much harder than they look.
Yeah, finding the optimal movement for this is definitely kind of weird, because if you just jump, you'll get a bunch of triple jumps, which just lose time. So what you want to do instead is do a double jump right here, into kind of like the middle of the platform, and then you'll just be in the position to long jump all the way up. Whee!
Those stairs are something.
Yep. Yeah, next we just have these last 3 Bowser fights. Pretty much the same formula as the first Bowser fights we saw, except they're just in different planets, and we have to hit him a bunch.
Yep. And it's, will we be seeing... Okay, so there's a strat on the last planet where it's task only, except people are starting to do it in runs. Basically, the normal strat is, like you saw in Bowser 2, we hit Bowser's tail, stopping the attack, but then we get hit by a fireball, skipping an animation. But there's something you can do where if you long jump and spin into Bowser's face, he'll knock you back, and sometimes, if you do it on the exact frame, you'll land on a fireball, saving about 4 seconds. So, I understand if she doesn't want to go for it, but it's definitely...
I don't know how to do it.
That's fair, that's fair. It's just something that you can do.
It's neat, though. It's neat for sure. Yeah, we'll be taking 2 damage strats in the next planet, which I'm very glad that Bowser didn't go slightly too much closer to that green plant, because Bowser can actually land on the plant, and in order to make him stop shooting fireballs as fast, you want to hit him with that green thing so he just spins right away, but sometimes he'll just land on it. He'll just be rude and he'll be like, nope, none for you. So you just kind of gotta wait it out. So yeah, first thing here, we're gonna take damage on this last laser. Cancel Bowser's spinny phase. Make him land right on that blue. I did not get that coin, but it's okay, I'll get it on the way back.
You good.
Never mind on this Bowser.
All good, all good.
All good?
All good.
Oh, and then here's where you could do task strat, but instead I'm going to opt to make Bowser throw 3 fireballs. A little bit safer. Sometimes when Bowser rolls around, he does hit a fireball like that. That was actually what I was going
mean.
for. That was
That's
very
so
good,
mean.
Bowser. However, it's okay. He at least landed on top of the thing for me. Not too much of a time lose for that. Yeah, and that was the final hit of Super Mario Galaxy Luigi 80%. All we have to do left is watch Bowser go into the abyss, which somehow he does not die after this, by the way. Yeah, that is a molten planet that he just goes into and burns up. He does not die. You see him literally like a minute later in a cutscene. Like, how? That man is built different. I don't know.
Bro's built
Gotta give him credit where credit's due. Yeah, if you're going to be matching me with my $5 per gold incentive, I did gold 3 times throughout this run, so I'll be donating 15, probably more, just cause, but if you want to match that, that would be what I'm doing. And with that, we're gonna collect the last grand star.
Oh.
Nice.
GG.
GG's.
Very good, very good.
Alright, time ends on that, I forgot to mention. I had it on my splits. It was a 231 flat,
That's
which
good.
would have broken me if I got that as a PB.
We gotta retime.
Retime. Oh, hey, it was 230.59 on your screen, so maybe I was wrong. Maybe I did get the 230.
I think it was the 230.
I believe. It was a .12 on my screen, so definitely worthy of a retime. But yeah, that is Super Mario Galaxy Any %. Thank you so much for letting me showcase this, and thank you all for watching, donating, tuning in, spreading the love, all that stuff. I have been Platicorn. Thank you so much for having me. Any last words from commentators?
Galaxy is an awesome speed game. I'm really glad you got to show it off and did a great job. And if anybody's interested, Galaxy Discord, speedrun.com.
Bluetooth connection.
Please do not start playing music.
I think that's it.
We gotta end before anything else happens.
Yeah, I just want to
Thank
say
you so much
thank
for
you.
having me. Have a fantastic rest of the marathon. Let's get those goals. Let's keep going. All for Blackheart. Super awesome person. Let's get it. Let's get that goal.